got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
A very good morning to you and welcome to the news update reaching you live from our studios at Souqnews Television. I am Oyimpri Krumane. Now, let's begin from the home front where Nigeria's broad money supply dropped for the second time in 2025, falling to 119.01 trillion naira in May. This marks a monthly decline of 292.75 billion naira or 0.25% from April's 119.30 trillion naira. The Central Bank of Nigeria's data shows that despite this fall, money supply remained close to record highs, driven by earlier liquidity surge and loose monetary conditions. Compared to May 2024, the supply expanded by 19.77 trillion naira, showing a 19.9% year-on-year growth. A closer look reveals a shift in Nigeria's liquidity structure. Net foreign assets dropped from 49.87 trillion naira in April to 45.81 trillion naira in May, indicating a weakening external buffers. However, net domestic assets rose by 3.76 trillion naira, softening the impact of the foreign asset decline, M2 and M1, which measures money more narrowly. Also declined slightly, reflecting tightening cash flows. The trend signals the early impact of CBN's tighter policies, though overall liquidity remains high, according to report. Now, a new oversight committee, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Offences-Related Commission, and the Federal Ministry of Education, has been established to monitor the disbursement of students' loans across 206 institutions. This move, confirmed by the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, follows the release of over 38.2 billion naira for institutional charges and an additional 34.8 billion naira as stipends for students. The Director of Corporate Communications at NEL Fund, Osemi Oluwatuyi, said the committee was created to ensure transparency, fairness, and accountability in fund management. So far, over 73 billion naira has been disbursed under the scheme. This 366,247 students benefiting nationwide. Nigeria's major telecommunications companies have commenced a nationwide upgrade of their networks, deployed $1 billion worth of Chinese-made equipment to improve service quality. The Nigerian Communications Commission confirmed the arrival and ongoing installation of the equipment, with operators aiming to meet a fourth-quarter deadline for visible improvements in call quality, internet speed, and coverage across the country. The investment, which more than doubles the previous year's capital expenditure, follows the approval of a 50% tariff increase and recent USSD debt settlement by the banks. The upgrades are expected to ease network congestion, boost 4G expansion, and lay the foundation for broader 5G deployment, especially in underserved rural communities. Now, the World Bank has approved an additional $65 million United States dollars credit for Nigeria's Sustainable Procurement, Environmental and Social Standards Enhancement Project. This raises the total project financing to $145 million, approved on June 24th. The funding will support Nigeria's reforms in procurement and compliance systems across both public and private sectors. The new financing deal will expand the electronic government procurement systems and professional training and certification of procurement officers. Over 33,000 workers have been trained, with more than 25,000 public officials still needing capacity building. The Sustainable Procurement, Environmental and Social Standards Enhancement Project is now active and is part of Nigeria's long-term strategy to improve transparency, reduce corruption, and boost service delivery through institutional reforms. Now, the United States of America and Nigeria have strengthened agricultural trade relations to close Nigeria's growing protein deficiency, focusing on soybean imports at the Nigerian NOW conference in Lagos. Top Nigerian officials, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo and U.S. stakeholders, agreed on boosting protein access through increased soybean use in food and livestock feed. Nigeria, with over 236 million people, consumes an average of 45.4 grams of protein daily, below the global standards following a 6-year break. Nigeria resumed U.S. soybean imports in 2024, receiving 62,100 metric tons. Officials said that this renewed trade and knowledge exchange will support food security, economic stability, and shared prosperity for both nations. Now, many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. The Souq News Television. Coming up shortly is Just Africa. To join us again.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
The Nigerian National Medicine Development Agency, NNMDA, was created in 1997 and backed by Act 2019 to enable the federal government of Nigeria through Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation actualize its critical and strategic mandates to research, develop, document, preserve, conserve, and promote Nigeria's natural medicine, defined as indigenous medicine. 4 Director Generals had steered the affairs of the agency since its creation 28 years ago. A new vista, however, opened in the history of the existence of the agency when Martins Emeje, a distinguished pharmacist and professor of nanotechnology, was appointed as the 5th Director General and Chief Executive Officer in May 2023. Before taking on the mantle of leadership at the NNMDA, Professor Martins Emeje was the Chair R&D at the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, with many feats on drug formulation and R&D results to his credit.
I deliberately applied for this job. There was advertisement. I applied. I wrote the exam. It was an online exam. Nobody saw anybody. And 1 hour exam online. When you submit your answer sheet, you have a copy of the answer sheet that you have. So I have the copy of the answer that I submitted online that day. And that is my manifesto. So every month, I look at the answers that I submitted, and it guides me in the work that I do. As a researcher and proudly the first and only research fellow in Nigeria who is heading a research institute, I know exactly the problems of R&D in Nigeria, because nobody in Nigeria has or is currently heading a research institute, and he went through the rank and file from being a trainee researcher to an intern researcher, an NYSC researcher, and then a research professor. This is the background that I have.
Call him a round peg in a round hole, and you won't be wrong, as he hit the ground running, leaving a lot of innovations on his trail, achieving great strides in the areas of education, agriculture, and health, thereby raising the bar in R&D in natural medicine for the agency. From May 2023, when he was appointed, within just a few months, 4 oral solid dosage formulation products were unveiled.
My greatest moment actually happened on 8th of March 2024, when the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Chief Uche Naji, came to Lagos in the campus of NNMDA here to launch 4 oral solid dosage forms. It was not just the first time it was happening in NNMDA, the very first time it was happening in Nigeria. We decided that we will go for education as a major target, as a major KPI. And we went for it aggressively and got accreditation to start a 2-year national diploma in natural medicine. So this agency, for the first time in Nigeria, we now have a school of natural medicine. It's never been heard before. It happened in this administration within these 2 years. Within these 2 years too, because the country saw that we had made explosive advancement in this area, we got upgraded to what we call an awarding body for national skills acquisition in traditional medicine. One of the best medicinal gardens that you can find in Africa right now is in this country, owned by the Nigerian Natural Medicine Development Agency, and we did this these 2 years. In fact, two of our products that is waiting for Mr. President launch was we got our raw materials from our Nasarawa State Farm in Karo. Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world. Cassava. The only country that competes with Nigeria is Brazil. Yet, Nigeria does not have value-added cassava products. Yet, Nigeria imports starch to make pharmaceutical products. We made a presentation to the National Assembly, and the Senate of our National Assembly supported us. So we went into development of pharmaceutical grade starch. Today, we have pharmaceutical grade starch. In health itself, we have developed and submitted to NAFDAC about 23 different products. 23. And they are all at advanced stage of NAFDAC's regulatory assessment at this point. Now, 3 of such products plus 5 of what we did the previous years is available, and people, because we are a research institution not capacitated or competent by reason of mandate and skilling to do marketing, we do proof of concept, and we wait for entrepreneurs of pharmaceutical industries, nutraceutical industries, food industries to come take them to the market, right? But we also owe, because, like I said, the huge component of the Renewed Hope agenda is that people should be attended to, so that they know that they cannot lose their hope completely in their country. So in this environment, anybody who wants drug for hypertension, for malaria, for erectile dysfunction, for arthritis, for diabetes, for hepatitis, for about at least 8 different disease areas, they come to our pharmacy here to get the drugs.
The past 2 years, under the leadership of Professor Martins Emeje, has seen human capacity development like never before. a development that propelled the agency's researchers into breaking new ground.
This agency had never, in its almost 30 years of existence, had never participated in any local conference where researchers went with work they did in their own laboratory to go make competitive presentation. In our maiden outing, in these 2 years, we won 2 awards. We went out for the first time and we got 2 awards. We took first position and we took third position. That is gold and bronze. When I came, I met researchers that have been here working for 15 years but with 1 degree. And I told them, you can't be a researcher with 1 degree. So I embarked on rigorous and aggressive drive to partner and collaborate with investors. So we went into that. Today, as I'm talking to you, we have at least 13 researchers and of the agency that are doing different postgraduate studies in different universities in Nigeria. I have a staff that was in Zimbabwe for 6 months. Now he has a master's in intellectual property. At least 7 of my staff have gone to India.
Quality assurance has been one of the top priorities of the NNMDA Director General, and the accreditation of the agency's laboratory and product development unit for pharmacy internship program by the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria a year ago. Under the watch of Professor Martins Emeje, the agency recently graduated its pioneer pharmacy interns.
I went into nanotechnology or nanosciences after PhD, and I had to go out of the country to train in this area for more than 4 years. So it's an area that I'm keen about. I'm one of the first people, if not the first, in Nigeria to have put in practice nanotechnology. What it has done to me as someone who studied Western pharmacy, which is more like macro study, it is that it has taught me how to manage resources, no matter how simple.
The last 2 years has seen NNMDA signing important memoranda of understanding with reputable academic institutions and other critical stakeholders in the areas of training and laboratory services to Nigerian universities. As part of its advocacy and public enlightenment drive, the agency brought together critical stakeholders in the nation's natural medicine space for a national dialogue on rethinking natural medicine aimed at galvanizing the needed support and political will.
I want the president of Nigeria to just be coming on television and saying that people, natural medicine, no other thing. Natural medicine, let's do our own. Let's do our own. Let him just be saying it. Anytime he's talking to press, let him say it. Because once people know that this is where the president is, this is where his mind is, this is what his body language is, they will start investing in natural medicine.
A turning point for the agency was the resolution of the National Assembly on Natural Medicine Gazette. The visit by the chairman, House Committee on Legislative Compliance, was a further demonstration of the renewed impetus.
We cannot have 160 million people subscribing to something, and then the remaining 40 million people, you now want to say that foreign medicine, what you call allopathic medicine, that is the superior to our natural medicine. No, it's not. So when the House of Representatives passed that resolution, I told myself, I have now achieved. So what I was thinking would take me 4 years to achieve, actually, we got it done in 2 years. And it's one of the, so our target has actually increased. The best place to actually functionalize or operationalize Renew Hope agenda, Mr. President, is in the health sector. It's in the health sector. And I always tell people, 2 things that if you have security in it, then you are safe. food, and medicine. Any intervention, any project that we do, that it is not about developing our own indigenous resources, is short-term. It's not sustainable. The only sustainable form of development is indigenous development. So anybody who wants to give me support now, I will just tell you what I want. For example, I want all my staff to live in this compound. If you go to other countries of the world, all these staff of the research institution, they live inside the compound.
Inspiring a new mindset among staff and attitude to work for the NNMDA Director General, the task of achieving the mandate and the vision of the agency is work in progress.
Traffic regulations are practices put in place in both developed and underdeveloped countries. They are designed to ensure the safety of all road users, reduce accidents, and promote orderly movement. Either you are a driver or a passenger, every road user is required to understand and follow these laws. Under obligations, drivers must possess a valid driver's license issued by the authorized body. In Nigeria, this is the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC.
Individual, like I've just said, most Nigerians, as we know, celebrate their date of birth. And as such, when you obtain a driver's license, says for 3 years or 5 years, you already know if you do it today, in the next 5 years, when you'll be celebrating your birthday, you are already aware that your license is due for renewal. You don't have to even wait until that date. By law, a month to that date, you should start processing the renewal of the driver's license.
While other countries have their respective designated authorities, vehicles must also be properly registered and insured, with up-to-date documentation readily available when requested by law enforcement officers. Mandatory rules include observing speed limits, which vary depending on the road type. In cities, the limit is 50 km per hour, increasing to 80 km per hour on highways and 100 km per hour on expressways. Before hitting the road, seat belts are mandatory for both drivers and front seat passengers. Also, all traffic signs, signals, and road markings must be obeyed. Drivers must remember that using a mobile phone while driving is a punishable offense unless assisted by a hands-free device. Drunk driving is illegal, with penalties ranging from fines and license suspension to imprisonment. For passengers, wearing seatbelts is essential, and distracting the driver should be avoided at all costs. In public transport, any reckless driving should be reported to the authorities, and pedestrians, on the other hand, must also cross at designated pedestrian crossings, zebra crossings, or pedestrian bridges where available. They should follow pedestrian traffic lights and only cross when the signal indicates it is safe. Looking left, right, and left again before stepping onto the road is crucial and should avoid running while crossing. Making eye contact with approaching vehicles ensures they see you before you proceed. By following traffic regulations, road users can prevent accidents, protect lives, and contribute to smoother transportation for everyone. Grace Komolafe, Souqnews Television.
Imagine a world without the roar of a lion, the flight of an eagle, or the rhythmic dance of ocean waves teeming with life. Wildlife is more than just the animals in their natural habitat. It is the lifeblood of our ecosystems, shaping the environment and maintaining nature's delicate balance. Yet, with each passing year, human activities threaten this balance. Deforestation, habitat destruction, pollution, and climate change are pushing many species to the brink of extinction. That is why World Wildlife Day is marked on every March 3rd, a global call to action to protect and preserve the rich biodiversity that sustains life on Earth. It is a reminder that wildlife is not just about the animals, it is about us, our survival, our food, our medicine, our future. Wildlife Conservation Finance, investing in people and planet, shines on a spotlight the urgent need for sustainable funding to protect ecosystems. It highlights the role of financial investment in safeguarding both wildlife and human livelihoods, because when we invest in nature, we invest in ourselves. From individuals to policymakers, businesses to conservationists, every tree saved, every habitat protected, and every species conserved is a step towards securing a healthier planet for future generations. As humans, let's act before it's too late. The fate of wildlife is in our hands, and in saving them, we just might be saving ourselves. Chike Okolo, Souq News Television.
At the African Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, and monitoring and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website, www.adstudiescenter.com, to explore our programs and upcoming events. African Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Just Africa, your destination for informed discourse and intelligent insight across Africa's developmental journey. I am Oyinpriye Krumale, and today we are stepping into the ever-relevant, often controversial arena of taxation with a spotlight on Nigeria's latest tax reforms and how they impact individuals and small and medium-sized enterprises. Welcome once again to the program. Good morning to you, Olumide.
Good morning, Priya. Very lovely topic we're discussing today.
Yes, yes.
The tax reform. So I think one of the, I'm not speaking for the government, but I think one of the goals was to make sure that the SMEs are able to thrive. Now, if you look at it, if the SMEs, if they are able to thrive with, reduced or reduced to nothing tax, it creates jobs. They are able to hire more people. They are able to do so many other things. And if you create jobs, it gives the individual or whoever you hire spending power, disposable income. He's able to go to the market and purchase things he wants, thereby also still trickling down into the economy itself. Also, one of the things that I like about this tax reform is, when you give certain incentives in your tax, it reduces the risk of evasion. Okay. When SMEs know that, yes, this government has their own interest, it reduces them, it gives them that ability to want to pay their tax, which is actually good. It also builds investors' confidence. Both local and foreign investors have more confidence that, yes, I can invest in this economy, I can invest in this particular sector, and I would actually make profit. I will create jobs. I will do a whole lot of things. So I think this particular tax reform is one of the best. No, let me not...
Go ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I spoke to certain, but I think it should be, or it seems it's going to be one of the best policies from this administration.
Okay, Mr. Wale Edun, whilst he was speaking extensively concerning this, I remember from the onset, he was saying that, since the tax bills or the tax laws that the colonial masters left to Nigeria, it doesn't look like we have done much in terms of reforming it to suit our peculiar current need, and that this current tax reforms is going to straighten all those rough edges.
Yes.
Because he was talking about things that had to do with television tax and peers and all of that those things still actually exist. Now, when we moved away from that, I tend to look at this tax reform on the pros and cons, the advantages and the disadvantages. I spoke to a former commissioner of finance in Kano State, and he personally was not really keen with the fact that some of the SMEs are being exempted from taxation. He's not also keen of the fact that some of the people who are earning low, maybe a million naira in a year or 800,000 naira in a year, not earning, they will not be part of the system. He was saying that they need to be part of the system, that they need to be accountable and they're responsible because they need to feel like stakeholders who are participating in the nation. So it does not matter that you don't have to exempt them, just make them pay something very, very meager and small in relative to what they earn in a year. Even if you will make them pay 5,000 naira for that, there is this response of accountability and they will be able to speak up, because if you exempt them from taxation, you seem to be shutting them up and they feel like, we are not part of this. That's why we're exempted in the first place. And he was talking to me about the people from the northern part of the country, and that what they actually do in that they bring these people into the tax net. They give them, they educate them, inform and enlighten them on the reasons why they need to be part of this system, so they can say, Nigeria, Namune, that means Nigeria is ours. So he is keen on doing that, and that the disposition of the government to exempt those people from paying tax might not really all go well for the people at the grassroots of society. I understand that, but I also understand the logic behind the current administration in trying to exempt this set of people from paying tax. So come to some of the SMEs, turnover of 25 million naira or 50 million naira, you are exempted, and some other companies who are doing more, the personal or company income tax, they will be exempted from doing that, and you have rightly said that it's going to create more space for them, reduce probably overhead costs, and for them to expand, and so that they'll be able to either pay not only their staff, but to also employ more people for productivity. Those are good initiatives, but as these all there is to these current tax reforms, it's not all there is to this tax reform. So Earlier this year, the Nigerian government signed into law the Finance Bill 2024 and also began implementing aspects of the Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee's recommendation aimed at overhauling the country's tax systems. Now, these reforms seek to broaden the tax base, eliminate redundant taxes, digitize the collection processes, and improve tax compliance, particularly from the informal and the SME sectors. But here's the dilemma. Are these reforms needed relief for individuals and SMEs, ensuring ease of doing business and fostering economic inclusion, or are they more of a revenue risk, potentially burdening the very engines of grassroots economic activity? In today's episode, we'll dive deep into the double-edged sword of taxation, its potential, either fuel development or stifle enterprise. We'll explore the balance between revenue generation and the economic empowerment, the sustainability of Nigeria's tax to GDP strategy, and whether these reforms are the relief entrepreneurs have waited for, or yet another layer of financial pressure. We'll go on a break, and by the time we return, we'll have somebody of note join us on the program to help us unpack what there is to this conversation. This is Souq News, and we are reaching you live from the city of Lagos. Just Africa continues in a moment. Do stay with us.
Dr. Souq A. Adedeji, whose leadership has significantly transformed Nigeria's tax administration, is a distinguished first-class graduate in accounting from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and he currently serves as the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
I firmly believe in the wisdom encapsulated in the statements. Revenue growth is the lifeblood of the nation's economy, providing means to fulfill essential duties to the citizens. These words capture the core principle that will guide us as we navigate the challenging terrain ahead, ensuring that our nation thrives and fulfills its obligation to its citizens. In our pursuit of greater fiscal future, we are determined to align ourselves with President Bola Tinubu's Extreme Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee. This collaboration will enable us to shape the prosperous fiscal landscape that will empower our nation's growth and development.
Born on January 8, 1978 in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, Nigeria, Dr. Adedeji is an accomplished accountant and public officer with extensive expertise in corporate taxation and public finance. His journey in public service began in 2011 when he was appointed as Commissioner for Finance in Oyo State. In that capacity, Adedeji introduced transformative financial reforms, most notably the establishment of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) to streamline government revenues and expenditures. In March 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Adedeji as Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council (NSCDC). In this capacity, he founded the Nigeria Sugar Institute and spearheaded the Sugar Backward Integration Program, which sought to enhance local sugar production and reduce reliance on foreign imports. In June 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Adedeji as Special Advisor on Revenue, and by September of that same year, he had ascended to the position of Executive Chairman of FIRS, Nigeria's leading tax authority responsible for the assessment, collection, and management of federal taxes.
The focus will be on these indirect taxes, so that as long as you consume, you have to pay. As long as you have interest on your investment, you have to pay. And this is echoing Mr. President's message that we are not going to tax the seed, but we are going to tax the fruit. The fruit is what we focus on. So all those things, when we have this holistic process, it will be captured, and that the vision is to have a progressive tax that if you earn more, you pay more, and if you earn less, you will not pay.
Under his leadership, FIRS exceeded its 2023 revenue target of 11.55 trillion naira. As chairman of FIRS, Dr. Adedeji implemented a performance-based system aligning with the service's new slogan, simplifying tax, maximizing revenue.
Dr. Adedeji has done incredibly well in transforming and reforming the tax processes and procedures in Nigeria. In a little over a year being at the helm of the affairs of the tax body in Nigeria, we have seen a significant improvement in revenue generation. His policy of not crumbling business with taxation is something that also needs to be applauded. Zak Adedeji philosophy is taxing fruits and not the seed, and taxing prosperity, not poverty. Because if you
very good morning to you once again, and welcome to the program Just Africa. I told you earlier on what we'll be talking about, and we have somebody who is very, very prominent and expert in what we will be discussing today. Now, to help us unpack this, we are joined by Dr. Kingsley Duboise. He's a chartered accountant and a public affairs analyst, but he's not a novice when it comes to the economy, tax policy analysis, and public finance strategy. Dr. Kingsley Duboise, with a wealth of knowledge. You're welcome to the program. Welcome to Souqnews Television.
Thank you so much for having me around.
Very good. Now, there's been a lot of misconception about this tax, the recent bill signed into law by Mr. President since last year, or since, I can say, since the commencement of this administration. They've been on this. There have been loggerheads in the National Assembly, both the red and the green chamber. And finally, here we are. But our focus today will be in the informal sector, because that seems to be the backbone of the Nigeria's economy. Do you think the recently signed tax bill and the way, how relevant, first of all, is it to individuals and to SMEs?
Yeah, once again, thank you so much for having me around. The Nigerian tax bill, from all indication, from all assessment, is a big relief and not a risk, especially when it comes to the informal sector vis-a-vis SMEs and individuals. How do I mean? Let me start with individuals. In this bill, no doubt, once your total annual income is below the sum of 800,000 naira, you would enjoy what you call tax exempt. You no longer be allowed to pay tax. So to an individual, you now have a cost and saving to the tune of 800,000, which can now be plugged back into the home affairs.
Okay.
Then secondly, for the SMEs too, this bill went forth to give tax exemption to companies whose turnover is below 50 million. So once their turnover is below 50 million, 0 to 50 million, you no longer be allowed to pay tax. And that income can also be plugged back into the business for growth and expansion. And once the business is expanded, no doubt, you can be rest assured that employment will be created, and what employment is created, the staff will also pay tax, which will also form as another form of revenue to the government. Thirdly, this bill also went further to increase the VAT on luxury goods. When we talk about luxury goods, we're looking at those goods that are very, very expensive, especially for the ordinary man to consume. So for the affluent who desire to consume these goods, they will not have to pay higher tax. And the resultant effect is that the income from this avenue will also be a great source of revenue to the government. And government can also use that to provide basic infrastructure. Another important aspect of this bill has to do with the fact that for large companies, they will also enjoy a gradual reduction in tax payment. Currently, the tax rate for company income tax for large companies is ruling at 30% of your assessable profit. But come next year, or this year's financial year, the company income tax will now drop from 30 to 27.5%. Then in the future year, 2027, there will also be a drop to 25%. So when you look at it holistically, the informal sector is actually benefiting because of these tax. The whole idea is that when you allow the informal sector to grow over the time, get stabilized, then you'll be rest assured that the economy will pick up. So at this infancy stage, I don't think it's ideal to tax them. So that's why I see this tax reform bill as a big relief to both the SMEs and the individuals concerned.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. So in your opinion, what would you say actually motivated this tax reform? Was it as a result of pressure for more equitable taxation or revenue-driven? Which would you say?
Oh, yeah. The Nigerian tax landscape has been unattended to for over decades. How do I mean? Over the years, these laws have not been revised. And some of these taxes, to my own understanding as a practitioner, have been outdated. Again, if you look at prior to this tax reform bill, as a nation, we had over 36 taxes across the nooks and crannies. But how many of them have been collected over this period? So it is in the wise decision of the president to have constituted this tax reform bill, and they have been able to harmonize, they have been able to consolidate those 66 taxes to about 8 relevant taxes. And you'll be rest assured that once the government put in their energy with all the structuring that is going, revenue will be taken. So to me, it doesn't speak well to have multiple taxes, numbering 60, and at the end, what you are taking home is less than 10, as the case may be. So that's part of the reason the president needed to restructure and take away those outdated taxes that are no longer in tune to current development. The world is evolving, so we need to move with the trend of time. And again, the president, upon assumption of office, spoke emphatically about ease of doing business and foreign direct investment. So part of the yardstick supporting the ease of doing business is to review your tax laws and make them to be friendly. Because once the tax policies and tax laws are friendly, you'll be rest assured that the foreigners will come and invest. And even for the local players, they will have a more serene environment to do their business. And like I said earlier on, once the business grows, that money that you have been missing all over the period will now begin to crop in. And over time, we begin to sing a new song. This issue of shortage in revenue will be a thing of the past.
Okay. Over time, we will begin to sing a new song. But I tell you, some people are not singing a new song now. Why do I say that? If you are supposed to earn 1 million naira and you earn 1 million naira annually, if we calculate annually 1 million naira, you should be earning maybe like 80-something thousand naira.
Thereabouts.
Yeah, thereabouts. And if those who are earning below 1 million naira annually, that's 800,000 naira, and we make calculations, it would be like they are earning 63,000, 60-something thousand naira annually. That's quite below the normal minimum wage standard that the government is pushing labor to accept, that he has actually signed, which is about 77,000 naira also. Don't you think that's policy somersault? Because you are saying those who are earning below the standard minimum wage should not be taxed. Then those who are earning the minimum wage itself will be taxed because the margin is quite different.
Well,
and very, very small. Very, very small.
There is always a starting point in any government policy. You must start from a particular point before you advance. In my own thinking, I think the government wants to actually give a form of relief to the low-income earners, such that over time, and if they get it right, then they can also be brought into the tax net. So the idea is to leave individuals earning below 70,000 or 800,000 approximately annually to enjoy a form of tax relief. Then over time, I want to believe that they will also be brought into the tax net.
Just one more before my colleague come in here. Now, if you look at this very well, since the inception of this government, fuel subsidy was removed. There are some other economic policies that were, suggested, made available, and has been implemented in this government. And all these are strangulating the man at the head of society. His purchasing power has dwindled and seriously has plummeted. This taxing those who fall even in the threshold of 1 million naira annually, I consider it as not being, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, reasonable. Because if you are going to exempt people, organizations whose turnover for the year is from 0 to 49.99 million naira, I think we should do more for the man at the head of society in order to enable his purchasing power.
Well, I want to believe that the reason behind that threshold was based on the minimum wage that was signed into law. I think that was the benchmark. So I don't want to speak for them why the threshold was not taken up to 1 million. But whatever way you look at it, whichever way you look at it, there must be a threshold. You cannot cross that threshold. So for now, the threshold is 800 below. The question you need to ask yourself, how many of our youth, how many of the Nigerian population fall within this range? You'll be rest assured
very few.
The number is enormous. So to me, it's a starting point. Let's see how we drive it. What you need to realize, tax policies, tax laws, tax bills is an ongoing affair. This is not the end of it. I guess the government is also watching. Over time, if they see that they're not getting it right, they may have to go back and make some kind of amendment.
Thank you very much,
adjustment to the bill.
Doctor. Now, let's look at obligations. Now, with this new tax policy, could we see more tax compliance from individuals now that the structure has been simplified? Do you think that, you also made mention that we have 36 taxes that have been reduced to 8. So do you think that this would encourage more tax compliance?
From my own assessment, if you look at that bill, the bill is 4-in-1. How do I mean? Under this bill, you have the tax administration bill, you have the tax revenue bill, you have the joint revenue board, which is where I am going. The essence of the joint revenue board is to have a kind of synergy between the federal tax offices, the state, and the local government. Again, there will also be a synergy between the now NRS, Nigerian Revenue Service, with other agencies. So the level of compliance, to me, will be greater compared to what it used to be. Because with this synergy, there is no escape route for anyone who is now being classified as taxable under this new tax reform bill. So level of compliance, from my own assessment, will be greater than what it used to be.
Also, some analysts have said that reducing tax for some people might also hinder government's revenue generation. What's your thought on this?
I totally disagree. Why do I say so? The question is, who exactly are we taking away? This is the informal sector, the man on the street. But the idea is this: if you allow him to enjoy a kind of relief, a kind of comfort over time, I keep saying it over time, when he stabilizes, when the business grows, then you can also bring him into the tax base. So it is a temporary discomfort to the government when it comes to revenue drive. But at the long run, it becomes a positive drive. So the government will enjoy at the long run, because once this informal sector, these artisans, these entrepreneurs stabilize, then we can come after them.
Okay. So first of all, I think we should also pay some form of attention to the government's capacity to expand the tax dragnet. It looks like we have not made serious efforts in taking care of that aspect of the conversation. You rightly said that those who use luxury items like yachts, who own private jets in the company, who bought luxury cars worth tens of millions of naira. In fact, when we get to 2027, when the new lawmakers are elected into the House, government will make another provision for a new brand of SUVs, bulletproof SUV. Are they captured within that tax? Do they pay for taxes like that? How is the government able to deploy technology and other methods for revenue collection in this world tax reform saga that you think will serve as profit for us?
Well, to address your question, the tax bill dealt with so many issues. So all those affairs should not just even arise. They are aware of the enormous task ahead of them. I want to believe provisions in that regard have also been duly taken care of. What I need to tell Nigerians and tell all the people out there is let's have a positive mindset and allow this tax reform bill to drive. And from there, we can take it up.
Okay. All right, so in your opinion, do you think that this tax reform might create any fiscal gap? And if so, how should the government manage it?
Well, like I said, at the short run, we may experience a form of drop in revenue. But all I need to advise the government to do is to address the issue of corruption. We must fight corruption. Then we must block all forms of leakages. Wherever place you see there is a particular leakage, then the government should address it. Once you block the leakages and address the issue of corruption, then we'll also be on the right path.
Okay. Well, we are still having a conversation here, and our conversation is about the risk assessment, the tax. Currently, the government has signed and put into law tax bills. You will be taxed. I'm already being taxed. We on this table are paying our taxes. But the thing is, there are pros and cons to it. There are advantages and disadvantages. For some of you, you might be able to pay more. Or maybe for you, you fall within the threshold where the government and the laws has exempted you. But whichever way, it is for the purpose of the good of the country. Dr. Kingsley is not leaving the studio yet. We're only due for a break. When we come back, our conversation continues. This is Souq News, Just Africa. Stay with us.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Africa is on the rise, and at the forefront of its growth is a sector as old as civilization itself, agriculture. Once marked by subsistence farming and challenges with food security, agriculture in Africa is now experiencing a powerful transformation. From the fertile lands of Nigeria to the tea fields of Kenya, agriculture is driving economic growth and lifting millions out of poverty. African governments and internal investors are taking notice, pouring in resources to support smallholder farmers and expand sustainable farming practices. Digital innovation is playing a major role in this transformation. Mobile apps provide farmers with crucial information on weather, market prices, and crop management. These digital tools are empowering farmers to make informed decisions, increase their yield, and get fair prices for their produce. Now I know when it rains, I can plan my planting better, and I know where to sell my crops for a good price. It's really changing our lives. We are committed to investing in agriculture as a pillar of our economy. Our goal is to make farming not only viable, but a source of wealth and stability for our people. African countries are also scaling up for exports, especially in high-demand crops like coffee, cocoa, and cashew. By focusing on quality, Africa is capturing a larger share of global markets. But the transformation goes beyond exports. Across Africa, new farming techniques and policies are helping to meet domestic demand and reduce reliance on food imports, contributing to food security across the continent. Women are also a key part of Africa's agricultural revolution. They make up a significant portion of the agricultural workforce, and initiatives are empowering women farmers with resources and training to enhance productivity. From subsistence to sustainability, the future of agriculture in Africa is bright. With innovation, investment, and resilient communities, Africa is sowing the seeds of prosperity.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. It's Just Africa. Our conversation is based on tax this morning. We have a very prominent accountant, a chartered accountant, and a public affairs analyst, Dr. Kingsley Ndubueze, who is in the studio live with us, and he's addressing the questions that we are posing to him. While we were on break off camera, I was talking to him, myself and my colleague, about some other gray areas we think we needed to clarify for our viewers out there who are watching. So they say the government is going to exempt companies, is it from companies' income tax, those who have turnover of 50 million naira
and below.
Below.
Yeah.
50 million naira is still quite big.
Yeah.
And companies whose turnover is less than that. So some people might be out there and will be confused. What is turnover? What exactly does that mean? Is that the profit? What is that the capital that you put into the business and all of that? Could you please clarify that?
Thank you so much for that question. When we talk about turnover, we're looking at your income at the end of the period. For the man or the woman that sells, what is your selling price? So the aggregate of the selling price of your item gives what you call turnover over the period, or income. Then when you talk about profit, profit is derived when you less your expenditure, such as transport. You need to enter bus to convey that item to your place of sale. So all the aggregate of expenditure incurred, be it transportation, be it lighting, be it registration, all of them, when you less the expenses from your turnover, then that gives you what you call profit.
Okay.
But I need to also expatiate further that we have different kinds of profit. But I wouldn't want to go into technicalities because we have the gross profit and the net profit. The gross profit is arrived or derived by removing your cost of sale. Cost of sale is the direct expenditure incurred in relation to arriving at that revenue.
Okay.
So when you less your cost of sales from your revenue, that gives you the gross profit. Then when you factor in what you call admin and discount expenses, which has to do with your salaries or wages, if I'm being paid on a daily basis, lightning, power, and what have you, then that gives us the net profit, or what you may call earnings before interest and tax. And that is where the government is actually taxing, the earnings before interest and tax. We don't tax the gross profit.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. So,
thank you so much.
With this how does this new tax direction, how does it compare with what other African nations are doing to support SMEs and low-income earners?
Well, I know that within the West African sub-region, some countries have also done their own review. But from my own assessment, their review is not as holistic as ours. Why is ours so unique? Why is ours so different from others? If you look at the composition, that committee is composed of think tanks. The who is who, as far as the Nigerian economy is concerned. the who is who as far as the finance and accounting of sector is concerned. We have the head of then Federal Revenue Service as a member, the head of the custom, and the heads of professional association. So they were able to see that and formulate policies that would drive. Yes, other African countries are doing well, but then theirs is not as detailed or comparable to that of our own dear country, Nigeria.
So what, in your opinion now, what are the likely long-term benefits of this new tax reform, especially for SMEs and low-income earners?
Well, the long-term benefit is that now that they're enjoying some kind of what I would call tax holiday, permit me to use that word, they will no longer be allowed to pay tax. So if they're able to do proper savings over the long period, they would have been able to raise capital that can also be injected or plowed back into the business. So this idea of rushing and going to bank to seek for loan, to me, will not be welcome at all, because you have a tax holiday, you're enjoying tax exempt. So that possible tax you would have paid cannot be saved. And over time, you will now discover that these SMEs will begin to raise capital, if not only for their business, but capital that can also be used in other areas within the economy or for growth and expansion.
Okay, so there's this issue about tax evasion and the possibility of business people who don't completely declare, who can lie and give false information about their turnover. Because when you were calculating the things to deduct from your revenue before you now get to, the turnover, then the government can now say, okay, now it is above 50 million naira, and this is the percentage which we are going to tax you, because, it looks like they may never get to that 50 million naira turnover, because all these expenses you mentioned, what kind of business will not get to that where the government can now say we are putting that? It looks like the exemption will be for a wider group of people. And declaration. What if they don't declare or they give false information? How can the government know these details?
Well, thank you for this beautiful question that centers more on tax evasion. But we need to understand what is tax evasion. This is an illegal means adopted by taxpayers to ensure that they shortchange the government when it comes to revenue payment. But one thing that I've also realized that is associated with the tax bill is that if you look at two, we also experienced a form of reform within the banking sector. How do I mean? These days now, you can hardly carry cash and move about. Most times when you go to bank to make withdrawals, oftentimes you may have to beg before you be allowed to withdraw above 20 or 50,000. There was a time the ceiling was 10,000. At a point, they relaxed to 20. So where am I going now? With the reform in the banking sector, which will now necessitate that all transactions within the ecosystem are being routed to the banking sector. So it may be difficult for any taxpayer to underdeclare their revenue, because the end point is that during the time of tax audit, the taxman, when I say the taxman, the tax authority, would certainly demand for your bank statement. Okay. From your bank statement, they will be able to aggregate what is your turnover. So even if you have gone ahead to declare or underreport, the bank statement will provide a detailed analysis of what you actually made within the period. So I don't see that. But yes, we don't have a perfect system. But with the reform in the banking sector, working simultaneously with the tax bill, that fears may not necessarily hold much water from my own assessment.
Great. Now, I thank you for taking us through this side of digitalization.
Sure.
For this digital process, do remember that the conventional banking system have been, at loggerheads with the fintechs who seem to be taking over the space. And it looks as if the regulatory authorities does not really have a hold on the fintech, the fintechs who are now, in that financial space. Because not the conventional banks are under the grasp of the CBN, even though the fintechs seem to be under the purview of the CBN, but they seem to be more loose? What if these businessmen reroute their business operations through the fintechs? Because most people, including the informal sector, everybody use those fintechs. And they could be rerouted where they can under-declare and it will not be captured in the radar for taxation. How do we rectify that?
All right. All I need to say here is that the government should also step up. Yes, you have done the one leg of it. They also need to step up when it comes to having a clear oversight function over the fintech. Yes, like you rightly said, when you enter an overdrive, you demand for account number. You'll be surprised what they'll give you. It's OPay, PAMPay. So which means that the majority of them have now resorted to using that channel. So my advice to government is to now begin to think inward, begin to step up their oversight functions such that the same way we've been able to get it right with the conventional deposit money banks, we'll also get it right with the fintech. So that's just my advice. So they need to, the CBA need to brace up, regulators need to brace up to monitor closely all the transactions routed through that platform. And once there is a close monitoring, then these fears may wither away, from my own assessment.
All right, talking about that monitoring, do you think it might also or may infringe on the privacy of business owners and all that, if you're actually monitoring the inflows of every other account existing in Nigeria?
Well, I totally disagree. I totally disagree because when it comes to revenue declaration, no taxpayer should hide under the guise of privacy. This is government, public interest. What is public interest? The interest of the public ranking supreme, paramount above my own personal or selfish interest. So if my own personal interest is to cheat the government by hiding my revenue, then I should be shown the way out. So it does not in any way infringe on the right of privacy. Rather, it is promoting public interest. Be you an individual, be you a corporate organization, we must work in public interest. And one of the cardinal principles underlying the concept of public interest has to do with fair declaration of report and information.
Also, in monitoring all accounts, how would they be able to now differentiate what is a turnover, what is a loan, what is coming in, what is going out? We're also being told that right now business owners should value their receipts for every transaction. Sure. But in the long run, how would they also, the Nigerian Revenue Service, how would they be able to differentiate this?
Part of what we do as advocacy, because I'm a consultant, as a chartered accountant, I major both in audit and the tax consultancy. Part of the advocacy work we do when we go for audit is that we encourage our clients to keep proper documentation. You must have a backup because for every revenue and expenditure incurred, you must have a documentary proof. Ignorance, they say, is not an excuse in law. Yes. So you need to have a proof such that when the tax authority comes for their usual audit, then you should be able to stand your ground and say that this particular money you saw in my bank account is not revenue. Rather, it was a loan from either a sister body or whatever. So the end point here lies in proper documentation. Documentation is not negotiable. And once you have proper documentation, you'll be rest assured that you will not have challenge. The only area you have challenge is that when you don't have documentary proof to back up those things, then the tax authority is left with no option than to categorize those inflow, be it loan, be it turnover, to all to be turnover. So documentation is not negotiable. That's just the way out of that.
Okay, so yesterday we were having a conversation here with some of our African brothers from Ghana, and we were told that for you to go to Ghana, from Nigeria to Ghana, or for them to fly from Ghana here to Nigeria, they paid about $1,200. And I'm sure when you make that conversion, you should be running to about 2 point something million naira. And we are wondering, for a journey of 1 hour 20 minutes, or maybe 1 hour 30 minutes, you're going to pay 2 million naira from this is the same African continent. So I was wondering, in furthering the conversation, I got to realize that these airlines and make little profit from that, and that the government and the aviation authority actually put lots of taxes in place, and at the end of the day, you see all the components that they've taxed, and you see the income coming to the airline, it's very, very slow. And that is only one of the reasons why we have very, very few local airlines who are flying continental and who can fly from Nigeria to abroad, apart from one person that is doing extremely well in that regards. Even though he is doing well there, we can see the battle between him and the international airlines. That's the issue of tax is registering in that point. How do we rectify such kind of challenge?
Well, I may not be able to speak authoritatively regarding the aviation sector, because that sector is a very delicate and volatile one. Aviation is not like any other industry where you can inject little money and run your business. I want to believe that for the issue of trying to maintain safety and airworthiness, the regulators have deemed it fit to inculcate those taxes so that you can have revenue. It's not like driving a car on the road. A lot is involved. And you're looking at human lives, numbering an average aircraft that flies international may be able to fly over 150 persons. So you cannot risk the life of 150 individuals or up to 200 on the guise of, oh, let's charge little tax. So that is a very delicate industry that requires adequate care. Okay. So I wouldn't want to dead there.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Nature.
Yes, but do you think that we've got to a point in our country where we need to make tax enlightenment or inculcate tax education into our education system? Because when we come to issues about taxation, we seem to be, there's this mild, if not overt protest by people in the country against the government. And part of their protest or their frustration is tenable, because in the sense that they felt, okay, we are paying tax, and we want to see that tax reflect in infrastructural development, provision of power, and every other public facilities. And when then they don't see that, they protest. But how can we bring in tax education to the system to calm these free nerves and to make the people toe the part of the vision of the government of the day?
I want to believe that the starting point is for the government to actually prove to the citizenry or the citizens that your money is working for you. How do I mean? If the government is sincere with themselves, when I say government across all levels, if they are sincere with themselves, ensuring that basic infrastructure, good roads, potable water, light, in some cities, some villages, they have not seen light for the past 6 months. So for a man who has not seen light for 6 months or thereabout, and you're asking me to pay tax, what for? That would be my reaction. But if I'm fully convinced that when I get home there is light, the roads are motorable, there is security, there is no amount of money you ask me to pay as an individual that I will not be able to. Even if I cannot pay, you can negotiate and say, please, give me some time, we will pay. There is also a provision for that. Government can give you a tax waiver. So the onus lies on the government to address issues of infrastructure. It's because of the fact that the citizens have lost regard, they have lost interest. That's why nobody is willing. Just a handful are willing to pay tax. So we need to address the issue of infrastructure provision. Once those things are done, I can bet you, Nigerians are very lovable people, and they're very sensitive. They will begin to pay their taxes. Yes, it may not be sudden, but the issue lies in the fact that those infrastructures are not readily available. Imagine somebody having to go to the filling station to get fuel to power your house, and you're asking me to pay tax. Yes, so those are the issues. So once infrastructure are being provided, then the rest assured that this problem will be critically addressed by the individuals.
Dr. Kingsley Nwabweze, it's been a fantastic moment. Ndubweze, rather. So now, before I let you go, I need to look into the camera to say something to the government and the governed. on the responsibility of taxation. So you are you're personally as a consultant, you are addressing them. I think you have 1 minute to do that. No, you look at this camera.
Good morning, Nigerians. It's my pleasure to speak to us on this special occasion and moment. I want to charge the government to ensure that these tax bills see the light of the day. This is the brainwork of Nigerians. When I say Nigerians, because of the composition of persons that came together to put it, let their ideas not be in vain. And again, these laws were also being looked into by our lawmakers, both at the green and the red chamber. And finally, it was assented by the president whom we voted. So it is our law. So government should ensure that all the provisions of these laws are implemented to the letter. Then for the government, the masses, you and I want to beg of us to be a little bit patient with the government. Yes, our angers and our frustrations are justifiable, especially when you look at some of the policies that the government have done, and yet some of us can rarely eat 3 times a day. I want to speak as a consultant who understands the intricacies of this bill, that it promises to offer us something good at the long run. So tomorrow looks good. That is my final parting word for Nigerians. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
Kingsley Ndubweze. Thank you so much.
Ayozde, that's my surname.
Sir?
Ayozde is the surname.
Ayozde.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for your time with us on the program.
My pleasure.
Yes.
My pleasure.
And from me to you, I am Oyinpriye Kromale. It's been a robust moment having this conversation with Dr. Kingsley right here on the studios until we come your way again next time. Do have yourself a splendid day ahead.
And now I am Olumide Shokoya. Enjoy the rest of your day.
For more than a century, Zambia has stood as a prominent figure in the mining sector, particularly renowned for its copper production, which remains a cornerstone of the nation's economy. Accounting for 3/4 of the country's export earnings, mining plays a pivotal role in Zambia's economic landscape. The focal point of this mining activity is the Copperbelt province, home to major copper mines like Lumwana and Konkola, alongside Sentinel in the northwestern province. These mines, operated by renowned international firms such as Barrick and Vendetta Resources, hold majority foreign ownership, with Zambia Consolidated Copper Mine Investment Holdings retaining minority stakes. Smaller mines in the Copperbelt region, backed by investors from countries like China, Brazil, and South Africa, contribute to Zambia's diversified mining landscape. However, the country's mining sector faces various challenges, hindering the potential growth trajectory. Fiscal policies introduced by the government, including royalty increases, the taxation policies, have negatively impacted mining profitability. Also, price volatility in global markets, infrastructural deficiencies like inadequate transportation networks, power shortages, and an uncertain regulatory environment further increases the sector's challenges. Moreover, labor disputes, safety concerns, and geopolitical risks stemming from political instability poses additional hurdles to Zambia's mining sector. To propel the nation towards its 3 million tons copper production goal, strategic measures are crucial, and these include leveraging digital technology through partnerships with AI and machine learning firms to enhance sector's efficiency and investment, stable policy framework in order to attract and retain investment, and provision of a conducive regulatory environment. Infrastructure strengthening supported by donor funding and concessional financing can also alleviate critical constraints such as transportation and power shortages. More so, environmental conservation is vital for for sustainable development. Hence, mining companies must provide government-approved environmental management plans, prioritize durable equipment, and proper waste disposal techniques to minimize environmental degradation. Given copper's expected dominance in Zambia's exports, maintaining its position as Africa's economic hub demands a concerted effort. Israel Adeyemi, Souq News.
The journey of exploring Africa's uniqueness and spotlighting the continent's powerful stories and promises remains in our heart. And today we unfold one of that story that shapes Africa's soul. Central African Republic, otherwise known as CAR, is the heart of the continent, a land rich in natural wealth, yet often misunderstood. Bounded by 6 neighbors and situated in the very center of Africa, the Central African Republic is landlocked, but far from landlocked in spirit. It is a country of vast green savannas, dense tropical forest, rich wildlife, and river systems that feed both its land and identity. From the Ubangi River in the south to the fringes of the Saharan zone in the north, the CAR holds some of the continent's most ecologically vital and untouched terrain. But beyond the land lies the story of its people, diverse, resilient, and culturally vibrant. The Central African Republic is home to more than 80 ethnic groups, including the Baya, Banda, Mangia, and Sara, each with its own language, dance, craftsmanship, and oral traditions that have been passed down for centuries. Despite a history marked by conflict and political fragility, the spirit of community and cultural pride runs deep. At the heart of CAR's economy is natural wealth. Gold, diamonds, timber, and uranium lie beneath its soil. However, the paradox of abundance is real. These riches have not always translated into broad-based development. Yet, across towns like Bangui, Bosangoa, and Braya, local farmers, traders, and artisans continue to drive informal economies, even as international organizations work alongside the government to rebuild systems and structures. Hope also beats through the arts. CAR's vibrant music and storytelling traditions are rich with wisdom and resistance. From traditional percussion ensembles to modern gospel and Afrobeat, Central Africans use rhythm and voice not only to entertain, but to educate, heal, and unify. The Sanga Trinational Forest, a UNESCO World Heritage Site shared with Congo and Cameroon, is one of the last strongholds of forest elephants and lowland gorillas, a reminder of CAR's role in Africa's environmental balance. Conservation efforts led by local communities are emerging as models for inclusive sustainability. Of course, the Central African Republic still wrestles with serious challenges, including instability, infrastructure gaps, and displaced communities. But across these trials, a quiet resurgence is unfolding. Investments in education, local peace building, women's cooperatives, and agro-processing industries are gradually reshaping narratives from one of crisis to one of courage and capacity. To know the Central African Republic is to understand that even in the most tested territories, Africa's heart continues to beat, strong, steady, and full of promise. This is the uniqueness of Africa. I am Moyosore Adebi for Souqnews TV.
Yes, it's a beautiful day. It's a fantastic day. It's an awesome day. And we are super, super excited. Guess what? It is the Femi Walsh Prestige Partnership that is being flagged off right here at the Federal Palace Hotel. Oh my God.
What that thing sums awesomeness. We're being at a place where every conversation about Nigeria's independence happened. And then also thinking about royalty, you know, things that make us feel like we're kings and queens when they come into this place. I mean, I'm at this point.
You know, talk about the scenery, the ambience, the rooms. This hotel is actually really good. And the fact that Femi Walsh is partnering with Federal Palace Hotel doesn't just give me the chills, like it makes me happy. Happy.
We're going to be having exclusive events, coverage, and we're going to bring in our expertise to come and give them that edge amongst...
That finesse.
Taking the brand globally through our media. My God. It's not something you want to miss out on this journey that I just started. We're going places, sis.
The Federal Palace Hotel was established in 1960 and constructed by the A.G. Leventis Group. Perhaps one of the most notable thoughts about Federal Palace is that it was used as the venue for independence celebration of Nigeria in 1960. Over the years, the Federal Palace has now become a world-class ultra-modern facility with a touch of elegance. The hotel, which has been recognized nationally and internationally, has become a tourist attraction for many. Perhaps this is the reason Femi Walsh Group decided to partner with the Federal Palace by supporting the hotel with resources and equipment for coverage of all the hotel's events. The president and CEO of Femi Walsh Group, Victor Oluwafemi Walsh, accompanied by the vice president, Idahosa Osamanze, paid a visit to the hotel during the exhibition of the popular Iriri Arts Gallery. It was a day of joy for each of the artists to see that the president of Femi Walsh Group was actually fascinated by their art pieces. Coordinator of the Arts Gallery also expressed his enthusiasm and joy, highlighting the exciting prospects and opportunities arising from the partnership.
Thank you so much, Souq TV, for coming over. It is about celebrating art and creativity. We themed it Luxury and Legacies exhibition. Luxury, as we all know, art is luxury, and the legacies that are left behind by artists are their crafts. So that is why we themed it Luxuries and Legacies exhibition.
Ambassador Victor Walsh encouraged the artists while commending their creativity. The general manager, Herman Britt, was excited that the collaboration between Femi Walsh Group and the Federal Palace Hotel exchanged pleasantries with the president and told Souqnews TV about his joy.
The energy is fantastic, and the support that you've given us is absolutely superb. So, yeah, watch this space, and your support is valued, and I love the partnership that you guys give us. So, looking forward to the journey with you guys.
Other members of the senior management of Federal Palace who were on hand to receive the ambassador and members of the Femi Walsh team include Temitope Ifiodun, HR Manager, Billy Uguechi, Events and Banqueting Manager, Chef Chris Onyanu, the Executive Chef of Federal Palace, Oluwatoyin Sulaiman, Housekeeping Manager, Dr. Arogundade, Digital Sales Executive. Each of this senior management staff shared their feelings about the collaboration.
We're actually so excited about this partnership with Souq News. It's going to, be beneficial for both Federal Palace Hotel and Souq News. And we know that all our new offerings will be extended to the larger world. we are actually doing things differently now. Federal Palace is actually doing a lot of things differently now. Our staff are ready to give the best of the best services to our guests.
To cover our events and take care of Federal Palace in terms of media and all that.
The Femi Walsh Group, consisting of all the different subsidiaries like Souqnews TV, the ALFM, Novacraft, and the machinery, look forward to doing great things with Federal Palace Hotel as we kick off the Prestige Partnership.
We're going places, and yes, with Femi Walsh Prestige Partnership, what we want to do is make sure that we're giving the clients of Federal Palace the best of the best of the very best in terms of coverage, streaming, videography, photography. So if you have a wedding ceremony coming up, you got the birthday party coming up, whatever you have coming up, all you got to do is make sure you contact Femi Walsh, because we give you the best of the best of the very, very best.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Keep watching.
My name is Uyai. I'm a textured artist, and keep watching Souq News.
My name is Alexander Beja, and keep watching Souq News.
Karim Joseph Aramide is my name. I'm a visual artist, and I'm going to tell you this: keep watching Souq.
Hello, I'm Billy Macaulay Oguchi of Federal Palace Hotel. I'm the banqueting and events manager. Keep watching Souq News.
I'm Temitope Ifidon, HR manager of Federal Palace Hotel. Keep watching Souq News.
Thank you, guys.
Federal Palace.
See you soon.
the Chief Executive Officer of the Foundation. Please recognize that she's presently present. Please let the thanks get up for her. Thank you so much. Ushers, please allow me to be on standby to see many of my guests and not seated where they should be, so that let me do that. All right. I think we have, I don't know if we have the founder of the Builders Transact. Yes. All right. Okay. The Legal State Manager for Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDA, Dr. Olukumi Odekaudu, still on his way. Mr. Tunji Oket, co-founder of Get Funded Africa Technology, still on his way. Dr. Itausa of SAMAZE, that's the General Manager of Souqnews, you are recognized as well. Mr. Shino Vanikeshi is here with us, the Managing Director of Gongzi Micro Insurance Bank. You're most welcome. So, round of applause. Can you wave your hands so that we will have here with us? Thank you so much. Please, ushers. Yes. Can you help me move into its appropriate seat? Thank you so much. Mrs. Tino Olatunsin Ajayi, Aswan Ambassador, former President, Association of Professional Women Bankers. Alright, still on our way. Mr. Richard Imoniji, Regional Manager, Bank of Industry. You're most welcome. A round of applause for him. Thank you so much. Alright, so we're still expecting a representative from SON, NAFDAC, and the Raw Material Research and Development Council of Nigeria. If you have the representative, please let us know. All right. Okay. I think it's safe to move on while we await other guests that need to take their seat here today. But meanwhile, while we do that, please let me at this point in time announce to us that this event once again is put together by ASBON, Association of Business Owners of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Lagos State Ministry of Commerce, Trade, Industry, Cooperative and Investment. And we are here today. It's going to be a record-breaking event for you. This is your first time. Please Can we wave your hand? It's your first time. Oh, wow, we have first time nights here. Wow. Well, don't worry, we'll serve you a drink now. That's the first time, don't worry. And that's what we do in churches, yes or yes. And first timers, don't worry. Because because you get drink, you're not raising your hand. You didn't raise it before. Because you have to be entertained, there's no problem. Alright, every one of us will be entertained here today. We have our sponsors and brand. Many of them. We have Souq brand, which is a complete sponsor, the platinum category, and of course, 7-Up would be company makers of Pepsi. And that's why you see Pepsi outside there. So please don't worry, you will be entertained. Back to industry, Adosa, Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, Souqnews, God's American Insurance Company, the CRC Credit Bureau Limited, and of course, yes, these are some of our sponsors. And at this point in time, I think it's important that we know why we are doing this. For 5 consecutive years, this organization have ensured that this event is put together to celebrate stakeholders who are adding value to the small and medium enterprises in Nigeria, and to shed more light, to give us more insight as to why they've been consistent with this event. Please, I would like to invite no other person than the lead convener, the president of the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, a great visionary, a great pathfinder. Please, let's celebrate Dr. Femi Egbesola. Please permit me to stand on existing protocols for the special mention of the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Manifestations of Omi, the Executive Governor of State Prince, therefore, Abiodun C.O.N., the Commissioner for Commerce, Cooperative Trade and Investments, Mrs. Olashade Amosun-Bidebe, the Honorable Commissioner for Commerce, Industry, Trade and Investments, States, Mr. Souq and Bola, and other head of ministries, departments, and agencies that represent and show that are aware that the DD of FIRO being represented here. Can we please have you stand up for recognition? Okay, thank you very much. I would think if I want to mention everybody that ought to be mentioned, every one of us is important. I also like to thank very seriously the keynote speaker for today, daily coming in on time to be here. And of course, our panelists, quite a number of them are already around. Thank you so much for being here today. The commissioner will soon be here to give a speech. But before then, we're going to go down to my speech, which is to give the opening address. So on behalf of the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Lagos State Ministry of Commerce, Cooperative, Industry and Investments, I warmly welcome you to the Nigerian National MSME Business Awards. This is the 5th edition, and it is designed to celebrate, appreciate, and name the supporters of the MSME ecosystem. We have created a platform to say thank you for supporting us for all the institutions, governments, development partners, and the rest. And it is our desire to find a way to create a platform to recognize and appreciate. That's the essence of this award event. And at the same time, too, it's not just about appreciating them, it's about pushing them to do more. The award program is designed to say, please, we want you to do more. So today, it's not just about appreciating, it's about also encouraging them to support us to more. We are kids, the MSMEs, we are kids. We need a push, we need a support. Everyone in the ecosystem can give to us. We also want to thank our sponsors that we have today. All of us, this company, we have sponsors. We also want to thank them. the media and of course, every of this, including my own immediate community, as one man and women. Members of Household, I think they are by this side, right? Please celebrate them. Let's put our hands together for them. The drivers of the economy, yes or yes. I think you guys have a slogan, Household starts from. Wow. Is that it? Can you get that? You know it. Wow. Amazing. Household starts from. See, it's very important, especially the last one. You want to start now. Many ideas are probably died in the heads of the conceivers, like, I will start tomorrow. I have this idea, and yet we never had the opportunity to start. So it's very important. Start now. God bless you for consistently putting this together. You are indeed the drivers of the economy, and we celebrate what you are doing under the able leadership of the President, Dr. Femi Ekmeshola, very energetic man. I don't know where he gets energy from. See, yesterday he was still reaching out, putting the dots on the I's, crossing the T's, ensuring everything is, on point. God bless you. I love your meticulousness. There's so much I'm learning from you, sir. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much. All right, on this note, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's the 5th SME Business Awards, National SME Business Awards, put together by Household. We'll be inviting our keynote speakers to speak for us at this point in time. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker is all the basic, the Executive Director of Faith Foundation, Mrs. Adeyemi Adeyemi. She will be speaking to us on sustainable business practices, the new competitive advantage for SMEs. A round of applause for her one time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Abby. Great, thank you once again. I'm really delighted to be here at the 5th Nigerian National SME Business Awards. Very honored to be giving the keynote address. All protocols duly observed, and I stand on the existing protocols that were earlier on outlined, and hopefully our special guests coming, and I know definitely need time to acknowledge them once they come. I also would like to, I love the Ascot Start Small, Project Start Now. It's a very inspiring, but also very strategic slogan, and I think it speaks to the essence of what Ascot is, but also what Ascot should be, and the role that you play within the ecosystem. For me, whenever I come to events like this, the people who are very important to me as VIPs those who are building businesses of different forms. You are my VIPs, you are the champions of our work in so many ways. You are the ones that hold our economies nationally, community-wise, locally. Nobody gets present like people that run businesses. And I know recently we're talking a lot about emotional and mental health for business owners because they need it. Many people more than other people that do it. And I'm also happy to see that we have quite a lot of women here. No prejudice to our men, but to God. You are home builders, you are community builders, you are vision builders. So I want to especially acknowledge our MSMEs who are here in the room. So good morning once again, everyone.
Decision on MSME can actually take view of the affordability of microinsurance. For them to adopt affordable microinsurance, for them to be valued as a means of risk management to protect themselves in the event that they experience shock. And of course, with as little as 1,500 naira, an MSME can actually be able to access to protect their means of livelihood. Or a minimum of 500 naira monthly premium payment. They will actually buy a health coverage, that will, of course, protect themselves, protect their staff, and member of household against issue of out-of-pocket health service. And of course, an MSME with that same little company could also be able to access some kind of insurance protection that will support the education of their children. All of these are very essential in terms of support the MSME needs. What we found mostly is that MSME are not able to adopt, the old mechanism that MSME adopt are always very challenging. And most of the time, quite often or not, erodes their, small saving by having to deep manage their, already existing asset or saving for them to actually meet some of these challenges. Thank you.
You'll be shocked to see that a lot of small businesses do not have access to data or do not make data-driven decisions that help their businesses perform, right? So to achieve continued success in a growing economy like Nigeria, small businesses need to focus on solutions that help them stay efficient.
We are very focused on sustainability because we understand that SMEs are the engines and the main focus of any economy in any nation. So why do we talk about sustainability? There are different ways of ensuring that there's sustainability through strategic programs that it does. In SMEDA, we have various programs that are focused towards the whole MSMEs. Then we are also gender-centric and we focus on those that are mainly meant for women and youths. Some of the programs we have about 15 programs off the top of my head. We have some that are focused on those in agriculture, the textile and the likes of them. For example, we have the YSP, which is Women in Self-Employment Program, which is focusing on women that are working for themselves and trying to thrive. So we always try to identify all these businesses and look at how we can have a strategic partnership within the ecosystem and build sustainability. Thank you.
Some time ago, I was in Kigali and we were having a conversation and somebody said something that was quite very traumatic for me as a person. And he said there are two nations on earth that are very passionate about telling how bad that they are. And those nations are Nigeria and South Africa. So we tell it very serious energy. And what picture does this paint out there is that nothing good is happening here. And so people are not even willing to come around to say want to do business because the way the media is structured in Nigeria only tells the bad news. We have data about things that are not working. We have data about things that are so bad. But on the good side of the country, nobody is telling it. And this is the challenge that, of course, the country is facing. So when people are thinking about Nigeria, the things that they can easily think about are the things that are not working. And this was a challenge for us. And so in 2022, we were in the UAE, and we saw the way the environment was working. It's not as if the things that are happening there, we don't have them here. But the way they are positioned in the media makes everybody want to do business with them. So we decided to also come back home and see how we can position media differently in Nigeria. That we're not just going to be talking about politicians and how much money is embezzled, but we also need to talk about the good things that are happening within the business environment. There are a lot of people who are doing excellently well. There's one woman selling amala there. It's training their children overseas. Nobody is giving them the platform to talk. So Souqnews came into existence to give platform to businesses, small and medium-scale businesses, voices in Africa, so that people all over the world can see what we're doing, see your visibility, support your project, and then of course you can also become a global champion.
Walk around, you see people doing great things, doing business, and if you ask them if they have their business registration, you discover that some of them been doing business for a long time, for some of them 10, 15 years, and they don't have business registration. Some of them, they don't even have business accounts registered in the business name, or they operate these businesses practically in their own name, and this is part of the challenges that they face in accessing finance as another challenge. Because as part of the challenges that occur when you don't have a business properly structured, access to finance also becomes a challenge for you, as you do not have credit history developed over time for people to make informed decisions on whether they want to partner with you or not. So these are part of the challenges that small businesses face in looking at businesses. Thank you. What we have done is to actually connect financial access to digital inclusion, right? By providing the opportunity for SMEs based on, like Mr. Debbie mentioned, their credit score and sensing as well, based on their credit score, their record keeping, and their transaction history, to be able to access some type of funding, right? Through one of our what they're going to mention. Right, so there's money that's accessible single digits, ranging from about 7% to 3%, starting from as low as 100,000 up to 5 million. And the best part about it is that this product initially is free to the SME. All they need to do is to register. It's called Simplify. They're able to establish their online presence. Photographers, barbers, small shop owners. There's no reason why they can't use technology, right, to actually formalize their business and be able to create that history to be able to access funding that is available to them. By becoming more organized, more productive, and also more effective. So, as people in finance know, it's about following the money. Usually there is criteria that is set out, and this criteria, just like he said as well, it requires certain things like coming to the formal economy, right? Taxes, business name, having a bank account. I used to have a tailor that started from absolutely zero, right? He grew his business such that he had like a bungalow in front and back, several staff. When you want to pay money, it isn't really private account. Doesn't make any sense. And it's actually well spoken, better spoken than I am. So until SMEs can actually understand that it's about criteria, right? And it's not free money. They have to follow a process to meet these criteria. Then they continue to laugh. I've been in a session with the renewable director here at Ogun State stakeholders meeting where some of the SME associations are complaining to, I will mention development bank association, that you're saying you have 5 billion, you're saying you have 10 billion, but only 5 members have collected this money. And the representative told them that, look, there is criteria. Some of you know this criteria, you're not bothered. Some of you are just too disorganized. Some of you actually qualified, but you just don't want to put yourselves in a position where you can access this money.
But I would like you to tell us, there might be 5 business plans on the table. Yeah. What makes one better than the other? What are the key things as a lender that you look for?
So, we mentioned financial discipline is one. I'm looking at for example, the requirement that he mentioned as part of the document that was submitted to me and part of the business plan. But in reviewing all these documents, I'm looking at the financial discipline amongst all of them. Who amongst all of them is disciplined enough to, because it shows, as you are modeling this document, it shows the plan.
Discipline? Retaining funds or less expenditure?
No, it depends. For some businesses, it depends on the nature of business anyway. No one size fits all.
Correct, but usually what are the things? It's just different sectors.
Like generally, you look at how you leverage expenses, right? What do you spend your money on? Basically, it shows in the business how you expend from your business. Do you use it to solve personal problems as against destroying family businesses?
I think content they say today is king in the media. What we're doing today is that nobody's creating content for you, you're actually creating your own content. Take for example, you produce granite and you're showing on your mobile phone, for example, the process that you take to produce this granite as it comes to the market, and people are looking at it and they say, oh, how hygienic that you are. You're not just buying something because you also find it. Because there are too many narratives in the social media, for example, today, people believe that there are some certain things that want to buy chips on the road and say, oh, they are using chemical to produce it. Now, this is discourages a lot of people from participating. But if you create content to show, for example, from your oil, how it's genuine.
Social media.
Social media, yes, of course.
Taking together professional to do it, or it's something that they can do all at their courses?
Of course, the mobile phone is a television house today, really. So you may not even name a media house, for example, and you put them together on either your Instagram or your Facebook. and the world can see it, and it gets viral, especially when the story that you are telling is so touching and has a human angle to it. And what I'm saying is that yes, for those who are big, yes, you can have somebody who is your media strategist, is going to help you design content and invest so much on it, but as a small business, you can actually create your content with your mobile phone. And most of the content that you see today that actually go viral are done on mobile phone, not on the big cameras that, of course, the medias are carrying. But what we can only do is to validate some of all this story when we also give you the platform to tell your story, and then, of course, we help you distribute to wider audiences. There are a lot of platforms, there are a lot of softwares that are available today in the space. Some of them are free, some of the lessons you can actually get. For example, if you download a Canva, for example, on your phone, it can help you aggregate your photos, your videos within your phone and produce a content. There are AI-powered tools today you find on the app. Before now, when, of course, as a radio station, you want to produce your ident, you need somebody to come voice from you. Today, there are AIs who does that free for you. And those facilities are available, and of course, businesses can leverage it to actually tell their story.
Okay, so how you guys are helping small businesses today? We're doing it in 4 ways. The very first thing is we're helping businesses manage their transactions. And I talked about efficiency in the first place, right? We are managing transactions by ensuring efficiency, automating certain things that you need to do, so that small businesses can focus on producing whether your product or creating your design as a service provider. As a result of those transactions, we are also using that to build credit profiles for small businesses. Credit profiling is a big issue in Nigeria and Africa today. Right? There was a publication outside recently that the CBN have confirmed that businesses can now have transaction histories passed around with banks, which is a great thing because it has been a major problem till date. Right? So that's how we're solving that particular part. And another thing is we're providing financial insights. Please take note, I didn't say data. Data is the raw form, right? Like I give an example within the team. I say data is your roadoo, your pepper. Insight is the soup, right? It's the useful form of it, right? Because a lot of businesses have a lot of data, right? But they don't know how to make use of it. So we provide financial insights that you can actually use to make data-driven decisions to achieve continued success. And the last thing is, which we know is super important for businesses, is investment opportunities, right? How do people access investment opportunities? Because a lot of small businesses have stash cash that they're not using. Now, bordering on efficiency, how do they make efficient use of money that they're not using to run their business daily? And I'll border on one more thing, which is payments I talked about. So in the digital world of today, security is a major issue. And how we're solving that is by ensuring that people or businesses have seamless and secure transactions every day. We have stuff like escrow. I'm sure a number of us must have heard of it. And escrow basically means that there's a middleman that collects the money when two people want to transact. Then after the transaction is done, you pass it to who's supposed to receive it. And as a result of that, we've had a lot of satisfied businesses growing daily based on that.
MSME is the issue of accessibility to finance. And one of our flagship products, which I think I need to talk about here, is a product that actually helps to support, micro and small scale business owner to be able to repay a loan. Giving them, some kind of guarantee or support, through microfinance bank, microfinance institution, cooperative society, and all of that. I sometimes wonder each time I listen to institutions that are doing lending, talking about collateral. They are actually an insurance product that can actually help support an MSP to see them through the period of that loan and then able to repay their loan. And what we do, therefore, with that product is that we support lending institutions, we support cooperative society, all of these institutions are involved in lending, so that we can support them, provide some kind of insurance that can see the customer through the period of that loan and then able to help them repay in case they fall into any challenges and they do not have the ability to repay the loan. Our product also, like I said, earlier on, cut across virtually. Even a keke napep driver can actually have access to a full form of insurance. And then going to your question, one of the, some of the major challenges, and I'm actually going to talk about just 3 of them. One of the major challenges, which of course, both from the supply and the demand side, is the issue of awareness. When you talk about awareness of insurance today, many people would say they don't know even micro, and that's why I started earlier on speaking about what microinsurance is actually all about. Awareness is still not, we have the fault, some of us who are the operator. Most of our strategy are, most times killed to the above the line customer. I mean the literate and the, major organization and all of that. I think we need to readdress our, strategy to ensure that it also addresses some of those, the BTL, that's the below the line, kinds of customer, where we have quite a number of MSME. And of course also the issue of public trust and negative perception is still very much there in insurance. A lot of people still, even though there have been a lot of improvement, a lot of people still feel insurance, they do not trust the insurance company to be able to pay to pay their claim. And I tell you, a lot of people have actually been made in that regard. There are regulatory supervision these days that ensures that when an insurance company takes your risk, they must fulfill the obligation of paying claim. And should they fail to do that, there are sanctions that goes with that. And then thirdly, the issue of God forbid. I know that's cultural and of course religious belief. When you talk about, most of the time when representative goes out to go and talk about insurance, the moment he mentions death or anything, or disability that could, be a form of insurance coverage, they say God forbid. So there are a lot of God forbid, and people most times do not want to actually listen to insurance companies. People pick the product before, they stop them from, having. I do believe that if we are able to address some of these things, if we have, opportunity and the kind of collaboration that we do, especially with the like of Asbon, where we talk to, their representative about insurance as we are doing today, many people will actually see the benefit of insurance and then be able to take on a product that will help them remain resilient and sustainable into the future. Thank you.
My apologies for coming late, but Lagos is very big. So, but I'm nevertheless delighted to be here, and all the more so. I'm happy that I also got here in time to listen to some of the very insightful dialogue on the just concluded panel. That was really very good. I'm here to deliver the Executive Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu's speech, and goodwill and thank you appreciative comments by the Special Advisor, Deputy Director General, Open State Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency, and my dear sister, Ms. Shola Arubieke. Representatives of the representatives, obviously myself, my colleagues from the Ministry of Commerce, Industry, Trade and Investment, all here. Applaud them now. The Director General, Federal Research Institute, Oshodi, FIRO, Mr. Lawal Adekunle. The President and convener here today of the Association of Small Businesses in Nigeria, Asbon, Dr. Femi Egbeshola. Representatives of governments here present, leaders of business membership organizations here present, esteemed members of the panel of discussion, distinguished guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. The acceptance speech by Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. I am truly honored and humbled to accept the esteemed award for the most supportive governor for MSMEs in Nigeria from the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, ASBON. I commend ASBON's leadership for their unwavering commitment to the MSME community and for tirelessly advocating for small businesses throughout our country. I dedicate this recognition to the hard-working people of Lagos State, especially our enterprising MSME community, whose resilience, creativity, and entrepreneurial spirit drive our economy. From the beginning of our administration, we've understood just how important micro, small, and medium enterprises are in fueling economic growth, creating jobs, sparking innovation, and alleviating poverty. To create a greater Lagos, it was clear, and it is clear, that empowering our MSMEs, the true engines of grassroots development, is essential. Our firm commitment to supporting small businesses is evident in our policies and initiatives, which include expanding the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, LSTEF, providing billions of naira in loans and grants to MSMEs across various sectors, making it easier for them to access affordable funding and grow their businesses, launching the post-COVID-19 Lagos MSME Recovery Fund, which delivered essential relief to businesses hit hard by the pandemic. Investing in enterprise hubs, business clinics, and industrial parks to foster environments where businesses can really flourish. Strengthening market access through initiatives like the Lagos State MSME Trade Fairs, the ECO MSME Digital Marketplace, and forming strategic partnerships with private sector players. Facilitating capacity building training and mentorship programs in collaboration with local and international partners. Helping MSME operators gain the skills they need for the digitized world. Inaugurating the Lagos State Council on MSMEs to create a coordinated platform for policy development, advocacy, and support for small businesses. Simplifying the business registration process and introducing tax relief measures to lighten financial burdens, particularly during these economic times. Over the past 4 years, through the Micro Enterprise Support Initiative, MESI, we have empowered more than 11,000 startup businesses, particularly focusing on vulnerable groups, women, and graduates from our skills acquisition centers. Our goal in Lagos State is to tackle poverty, is to boost wealth, and to help ease the economic challenges faced by the people of Lagos State. What is most important is that we are committed to listening, to engaging directly with MSMEs in order to truly understand their challenges and work collectively to create sustainable, impactful solutions. I want to assure you that we will ensure a business-friendly atmosphere, investing in infrastructure, encouraging innovation, and promoting inclusivity, making sure that every small business in Lagos has the chance to flourish. So let me take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude once again to ASBON for this recognition. Your commitment to celebrating excellence in entrepreneurship is truly admirable. To all yes please, let's applaud him. To all MSME operators in Lagos State, your contributions are appreciated, and your government is firmly behind you. Let us keep working towards building a greater Lagos, one that is competitive on a global scale, economically thriving and socially inclusive. Thank you all, and God bless you. Mr. Babajide Olusola.
Yes, kindly put me award. Please come on, come on. Will you 7 up to mix and go yes or yes? Yes. Now let them know so that they can continue to. All right, please take the award to Her Excellency, and she will do us the honors of presenting.
I'm incredibly delighted on behalf of the Nigerian National Airline to present to you on behalf of ASBON the Nigeria National SME Business Awards. You are the winner of the SME Impact Leader Award, SME Man of the Year Award. I'm delighted to present to you Mr. Ziad Madu, the Managing Director of Seminole Public Company.
The next award.
Give me the mic, I will not let it go, by the way. Madam, thank you very much for the award. It's a great honor for me to receive it, especially from you on behalf of Mr. Governor. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Together we make it better, Lagos.
For Mr. Governor, as the SME-friendly governor, and this award will be jointly presented by our own Shola Obieke. Please come up, and Dr. Femi Shola presenting this award to Mr. Papa Jide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, SME Most Friendly Governor of the year 2025. Let's celebrate that.
Presents the Nigeria National SME Business Awards for 2025 to His Excellency Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu as the SME Most Friendly Governor of the year 2025.
Okay.
Commissioner of the Year for Business-Friendly Reforms under the Nigerian National SME Business Awards 2025. Can you give it up to the winner?
I'd actually have to say, I'm delighted to accept this on behalf of the entire, because you know, as they say, it takes many people to make a village, and it's actually a team award. So these are the Director of Commerce and the Deputy Director of Commerce, and we all work together. So it's actually our award. Thank you all very, very much indeed. Thank you.
I present to you this award as the SME Most Supported State Ministry of the Year. Big congratulations.
For the award of the Best Governor in Enterprise and Investment Promotion in Nigeria.
So it's an honor to present to you SME Hero in Public Service, the winner Ms. Shola Obieke.
State Investment Agency in Nigeria State category, and the winner is Open State Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency.
award to the winner, Souq Micro Insurance Company Limited. Congratulations.
On behalf of National SME Business Award, the year 2025, we are presenting you SME-centric television station of the year 2025. Winner, of course, is Souq Television. Congratulations.
On behalf of the National SME Business Awards, year 2025, the first SME brand of the year, and the winner is analyses.
On behalf of ASBON, I present to you this Nigeria National SME Business Awards year 2025 as the winner for Customer Choice Innovation in Business Management. Congratulations.
Are you a man of business in need of support? Visit www.asbon.org and register for free under the Nano Free membership portal today.
Join us and make a difference. Together, we can build a thriving future of Nigeria. So, to be part of the Asbon Collective Impact Initiative, please call 091-191-69773 or send an email to asboncollectiveimpact@gmail.com.
Or donate to Fidelity Bank account 5600189903.
Let's join hands to empower our dreams, build businesses, and transform Nigeria together. Your support, their growth, our future.
So that's it. Let's have the cake. Yeah, that's the cake stand. Let's get the center here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. President asked me to give a 10-minute speech. I'm not very good at speeches, so I'll tell you a story. They introduced me as the MD of 7-Up Bottling Company, but I am the MD of 7-Up Bottling Company. I'm the chairman of the Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance, and I'm the founder of a company called SME Scale. When I meet people and they ask me and I tell them my titles, they say, how lucky you are. And I look them in the face and say, guys, I'm not lucky at all. This is not luck. This is determination. This is sweat. This is 24 hours work. Now, why I'm telling you this story? Because I've been working very closely with SMEs for the last 2 years. And SMEs fit within 3 categories. The lucky SMEs, starting a company is so easy. Anyone can go tomorrow and start a company. The ones that work hard and smart and maybe a bit lucky, they scale up and grow very fast. The other ones, the second category of lucky SMEs are the ones that shut down. The third and worst category in my point of view, and please guys, what I will tell you now, you might not like it, but the worst category of SMEs are the SMEs that continue 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Because we are like, SMEs are like human beings. We are born as babies, then we become children, then we become teenagers. I went in a coma for 1 year, not knowing what to do. I was under shock. So I moved after that 1 year. I said, enough is enough, I have to do it. I started traveling and working in the worst countries in the world when it comes to safety. I don't know if anyone worked in Iraq after the American invasion. And people say Nigeria is unsafe. There, you have a probability of coming back home of 50% every day. I had to work 9 years, getting all my salary and paying to close my debts. And big thanks to Nigeria, the last year I came to Nigeria and I closed my last debt in Nigeria. So, if we look at that journey, when I closed my company, you all were much better than me. Nobody can debate that. But the moral of the story is, when we are determined to do things, when we do it the right way, the results will come. It took me 9 years to recover, and I made a promise to myself that I want to make people avoid that experience. How do I help people not go through this and go through nine years of suffering, and it was real suffering? Better than Nigerians that I should give that back. I've been in Nigeria for the last 18 years. I never lasted in any other country more than 1 year to 2 years. I madly fell in love with Nigeria. Nigeria made me what I am. And this is what I said. I want to pay back to this country and paying back in double-sided way. One way through the economy, as it was mentioned, because SMEs are the economy. And the second way is, how do I minimize the suffering of people? Companies that struggle, based on my experience, how can I pass on that experience? Based on that, we do every 10 days a one-day workshop for 100 SMEs, where I manage 90% of the time. I sit with them, I talk with them, I joke with them, we plan together. And I categorize them in 3 categories. 1/3 come to the workshop to chop food. What do I do? They just come to eat, leave, finish, they disappear. Another 1/3 or more come there, they want the business, their business to grow, but they want to move all the problems to me so that I grow their business. It doesn't work that way. But there's a 10%, every session I have 5 to 10 SMEs that I feel they are determined to grow. They have a good idea, they have the passion. This is all what is needed for you to grow your business. Whatever people tell you, sometimes I get offended by SMEs telling me, I'm waiting for the grant from here or intervention. I say, why the heck, you are not beggars, guys. Without money, with small money, if you have a great idea, you will get the money. Whether from BOI or from a grant or from a bank. If you have a great idea, you can do it. So, the objective is not to make you better SMEs. The objective is to take you out of the SME space and go into the larger mega companies. You might say, yeah, this is the MD of the 7-Up, he can give us lots of grammar. But we have a 90% success rate with companies that are determined to succeed. A company called Mamalicious, I don't know who knows it here. They started with us a year ago with 20 million naira of revenue. Today they are making 2.2 billion naira. 2.2 billion naira. We have companies, small companies dealing with fufu, with gari. They are most interesting, but now they are repositioning all this and growing their business significantly. I'm not promoting SME scale-up because it's not for profit. So all the attendance, anything is for free. People come, attend, we guide them, they can come meet with me anytime. Only one condition, they must be determined to go out of SME space within 6 months. And this is what we are aiming for. So if you have the idea, if you have the passion, you are welcome to join us. Nothing to be paid. So, just get out of the concept that you believe you are small. Believe you are big, and there are lots of people that will help you grow there, but you have to do it. People will be there to just help you and guide you. Thank you very much, guys.
Nano entrepreneurs makes about 85.5% of the total MSME ecosystem, meaning that we have 32.86 million MSMEs, but which are nano. And you begin to wonder, who are the nanos? Who do we refer to as nanos? These are small businesses, very small businesses, for the solopreneurs that most often are being run by one person, one man or woman, and then they hardly have to run. According to Sweden, their total turnover is always between 50,000 and 300,000 naira per annum. You can say they are indeed nano. This particular concept of part of the ecosystem are not registered. Many of them are structured. They do not have access to funding, and they find it difficult to scale. So for us, we believe that for a country to succeed, it is important for every one of us in the ecosystem to focus more on the nano part of the ecosystem. And that's what we have done in ASPA. We decided that we are focusing on nano, and we take it as a decision, a strategic decision from January this year. We've been able to go to a number of markets, and what we do when we go to this market is to identify these nano entrepreneurs, see how we can uphold them. We also provide them funding, we are providing mentoring, and we support their business to scale. We also ensure that their businesses are insured. So we are now working with Groups Microfinance, Microinsurance, to ensure that they are insured in case of shocks. This will help them to sustain their business and to be able to grow and scale. In between January and now, we've been able to impact 287 different nanopreneurs. Today we invited about 10 of them to come from different sections, from Yanopaja, from Opa, from Ikeja, from Shomolu and the rest. Can you please stand up for recognition, nanos? Can you stand up for recognition? Can we put our hands together for them? Thank you so much for coming. Yes, thank you so much for coming. But the question is, can we do this alone? The answer is a capital no. It's a project we cannot do alone. We want to continue to ensure that they get the support they need. And for that to be sustained, we need government to support us. We need corporate organizations like yours to support us. We need individuals to support us. There are so many platforms that we can use to support us to keep the initiative rolling. One of such is identifying those nanos in the area and deciding to impact them through us. Could you like that some other people in your church, in your mosque, in your street, or all of that, and you feel that there's need to raise them up, lift them up? Why don't you partner with HASCO and see how we can support things? I told you I'm not going to be spending more than 3 minutes, so I'm going to watch this video. It's less than a minute. Can we have the video? We're going to watch the video less than a minute, and I will be off here. Thank you for your listening and attention. We are going to cut a cake to officially launch the Nano initiative right after the video. I am sure that with your permission, we will request that the commissioner help us to take pictures after the cutting of the cake. Can we have a take on the stage, please?
Yeah, the DJ representative, please join us. Thank you.
All right, we'll be very fast. I would like to, first and foremost, can we give Asbon an outstanding round of applause? This is an incredibly impactful initiative and one that actually affects the masses. And for that, I commend you. And that's one of the reasons I stayed, because I was listening to what you were saying. And quite frankly, this is the core mandate of the Ministry of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment. So on that note, and on behalf of all of everyone here on the stage here today, I will say, and may everyone, every business, I like that term, I'm going to be using it, solopreneur, continue to thrive and evolve into an entrepreneur. And on that note, can I say, after three, shall we say after three? Can we all say Asbon? On that note, after three, can we all shout? I haven't said three yet. 1, 2, 3.
Majek Fashek's 1991 album, Spirit of Love, was a groundbreaking success in Nigeria. Earning critical acclaim and resonating deeply with audiences. Produced by Little Steven Van Zandt, the album masterfully blended African spiritualism, percussive rhythms, and protest songs infused with Black consciousness. Fashek's distinctive sound, marked by rhythmic pauses, a set of choruses, and the inclusion of talking drums, added to the album's energetic and impactful delivery. And spiritual struggle, reflecting the political and social climate of the time. The success of Spirit of Love, coupled with Fashek's tour alongside Tracy Chapman, cemented his place in the annals of the Nigerian music industry. In this music review and special report prepared by Bayo Olawe, we examined the profile, power, and legacy of Spirit of Love, a 10-track masterpiece that helped solidify reggae music's mainstream status in Nigeria in the early 1990s. The album opens with Beware, a wake-up call that urges Nigerians to remain vigilant against deceptive leaders and the manipulation of political power. The second track, So Long, Too Long, is a rallying cry for Africans and African Americans to awaken their potential and fulfill the dreams of revolutionary icons like Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King Jr. In Majek Fashek Inner New York, Fashek reflects on his idealized vision of New York and the harsh reality of urban poverty and homelessness, revealing a sobering contrast. The title track, Spirit of Love, conveys a powerful message about the endurance of love over material wealth and worldly desires. On Jah People, the fifth track, Fashek criticizes oppressive political systems, likening those in power to Babylon people who exploit and subjugate the masses. He calls for resistance, lamenting humanity's obsession with control. In Religion is Politics, Fashek delivers a bold message about the misuse of religion to spread hate and fuel conflict. He urges people of different faiths to see beyond dogma and work together to build a better world. Holy Spirit presents a prophetic vision where 7 angels are sent to destroy the earth due to human transgressions. Yet, Fashek envisions a new heaven and earth, one filled with love, unity, and divine justice.
I can see brothers and sisters, they sharing love together now. I can see you around and you hold on. Yes, I can see, yes, I can see, yes, I can see brothers and sisters.
With Send Down the Rain, Majek draws on the metaphor of rain as a reward for diligent effort. The track reflects his spiritual longing and anticipation for success based on the principle of reaping what one sows. I'm Not Tired reaffirms his unwavering commitment to spreading God's message. Here, Fashek expresses spiritual resilience and praises the goodness of God, refusing to grow weary. The album closes with I Come From the Ghetto, a powerful reflection on the struggles of ghetto life, child abuse, government neglect, and hardship. Yet, Fashek celebrates the strength of these communities, invoking figures like Nelson Mandela, Jesus Christ, and Marcus Garvey as examples of greatness emerging from humble beginnings. He reminds us of the universality of these struggles across Nigeria, the US, and the UK. With Spirit of Love, Majek Fashek delivered a masterclass in artistry and advocacy. The album remains one of the finest reggae albums to emerge from Nigeria, exploring themes of love, peace, unity, corruption, self-awareness, revolution, spirituality, and racial equality. The perfect blend of traditional percussion, particularly the gong-gong and electric guitar, gives the album a timeless edge, merging the soul of Africa with global reggae rhythms. Spirit of Love is more than just an album. It is a cultural artifact, a sonic protest, and a spiritual message. It elevated Majek Fashek as a voice of the people and established reggae not just as entertainment in Nigeria, but as a force for awareness, resistance, and healing. Its enduring legacy is a reminder that music, like literature, can move a nation, challenge its leaders, and inspire its people. I'm Moyosore Adebi for Souqnews TV.
Well, you already know, my name is Steve Omojafor, and my middle name is Bamidele. That was the name that my parents gave me at birth, because it was like they regarded themselves as not Lagosians. It is Providence that brought them into Lagos, and I then happened to be born here at Odo Street, Balinde. And in fact, we had it. We didn't go to Mercy Hospital then. There was a little home along Odo Street run by a very experienced nurse. Mama nurse, that's what we, So I was born in that little place and grew up from there. Like I said, my middle name is Bamidilim. My parents probably said, well, we have had you here, but this is not home. As at that time, you will go home with us. No problem. So I started off at St. Matthias Catholic Primary School on Louis Street. And I was in St. Matthias from 1953 till 1960, when we finished with our primary school leaving certificate. Then from there, an extra year at Holy Cross School. We did that extra, they call it prep class. Prepare yourself to go to the secondary school. And from Holy Cross, for 1 year, I moved on to St. Gregory's College, Lagos. Now, growing up in Lagos was one of the best things that happened to us then. Life was good, life was easy, life was safe, life was like everything that a young man could aspire to. We went to school with Scholars Bus, which was virtually provided for free. When Scholars Bus was not available, it was fun walking from Obalende, firstly to St. Matthias, and then from there to St. Gregory's College. Life was good, life was safe. You could go out any time of the day. You could play from house to house. Parents knew each other very well. And so, in fact, when you were late somewhere on your street or in your neighborhood, you could sleep there because they would send a message to your home that Dele is here, so don't bother. The next morning you wake up, have your bath, have breakfast, return to your home. There was this community life that we all lived. Parents could discipline children of their friends, okay? Not like these days, you dare not touch any other child. The parents will come and, do a battle with you. That I didn't send my child to you to be flogged or to be beaten. So it was a very beautiful life. So went to St. Matthias, went to St. Gregory's College, and then from there to University of Lagos. We were brothers keepers. School was fun. Teachers were all there just to teach you. And there was no messing around. There weren't any bad habits that people could be developing along the line, So that was my life growing up. So we were all walking through Balinde to Lafiaji, to Campus Square, to Tokunbo, Okekpokpo, So we were children of the neighborhood. We were children of the area. So I'm never ashamed to say I'm an area boy in Lafiaji. Today it has become a taboo, but then we were proud of our origin. We were proud of our place of birth, and we were proud growing up in the neighborhood. So today, still believe me, I get up on some Fridays, I just go to Lafiaji, I stay with the guys. Okay, not all of us were fortunate enough to go through the system. Okay, so those who, in quote, we left behind, we still, a lot of the time, we still talk to them. We still relate to them when there are problems that we could fix. We help out. Because, it wasn't their fortune to be able to have gone. I know some dropped out, on their own volition. But generally, we all like the idea of going to school, but some couldn't make it. But we still relate to them. We are still friends. So I'm not surprised I leave Holy Cross Cathedral and I just hear people call me my names. And I know these people are those who knew me when we were growing up. Let me start by saying that even at secondary school, I read a lot. I was interested in the newspapers, and a lot of the time I read something, there was always this beautiful column of letters to the editor. So anything that I read that I liked, I sit down, 2-3 paragraphs letter to the editor to compliment what they've done, to criticize what I didn't like, and these things were published, and I liked it. Okay, you open the papers and you just see, contributed by Steve Omojafo, or some will call me Bamidele Omojafo. So that kept me getting interested in the media. So when I left secondary school, after higher school, I would just pay a visit to Daily Times, which was in Tinubu, Kakawa Street. I just pay a visit there, and I got talking to people. They would take me to the newsroom, they would just show me how newspapers are produced and all that. That ignited my interest. So when I left higher school, mass communication was what called to me. I know that my uncle, you are not doing accountancy, you are not doing engineering, you're not doing medicine, you want to go and become a newspaper boy. I said, yes, this is where my interests lie. So I got admitted to Lagos University and studied mass communication there. And while I was there, I developed a column in Lagos Weekend of those days. Every Friday I was contributing. And I was writing under the name of Akibodilon. Now, Akibodilon itself is a name that I picked up in a drama group. Because we had a drama group that we produced all kinds of little plays here and there at Jekirandu Hall, So one of the roles I played was Akibodilon. So when I started writing my columns in Daily Times and Lagos Weekend, I just used that pen name, Akibodilon. So I did the program and I started writing for Daily Times campus news, things that happened during elections, battle between the male and female, problems with the tutors and everything. So it became a very regular program. In fact, I inherited the program from late Golabo Ogusawo, who was my boss in the Daily Times. So I did that program for 3 years. It became very popular. It got to a point, Vice Chancellor would call me to say, there's a little thing going on in the university. I hope you have covered it for your paper. And I said, I'm not even employed there. I'm just writing, So I left University of Lagos, had all kinds of jobs that one could do, but I headed for Daily Times because I just had developed a path for myself, and that is journalism. Okay. So while in the Daily Times, worked with the Lagos Weekend, went to Daily Times proper and worked there. I was a columnist, I was a sub-editor, and also a reporter. Combined everything. So that was where my interest grew, and it was very painful when I had to leave the Daily Times organization. And what did I go to? Linters advertising. When I walked into Linters, and I said to the chairman managing director, and I said, I want a job. I said, just like that? I said, yes, sir. You know, then it was easy to communicate with people. We're not too many, so they listen to you. So he said, what are you doing now? I said, I know, I'm a sub-editor at the Daily Times. So why are you coming to advertising? I want to broaden my space. I want to broaden my experiences. It took about 3 months, and I got a job in Linters. And I remember Alhaji Babatunde Joseph, when I was going to leave, said, look, Steve, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Linters. I said, well, we do the same thing. They package programs commercially. Here we do our papers and we go sell, you know. So I said, okay, sir, let me just go gather some experience at Linters. And Linters and Daily Times were just 5 minutes walk from each other. And I said, sir, if the editor needs me for anything, trust me, I will spend my time and money, do write-ups for Daily Times. So I was like working in advertising and still writing for the Daily Times. You know. So that was my life. From Linters, we set up our own company, known as Roosevelt Advertising Limited. And Roosevelt, was formed by 3 partners, you know, two friends of mine. 3 of us were at Lagos University at the same mass comm department. So we came out, and I left Daily Times to set up Roosevelt. One of my partners left Cadbury to join us, and Akodusi left AdMark, another advertising company. So 3 of us came together and we set up Roosevelt. We call ourselves second generation agencies, because before then we were the Ogilvy, the Linters, Grant Advertising, and so on. So we set up a small shop in Souq, and it grew beyond our own imagination. From Roosevelt, we set up a second line agency called McCann, STB McCann. Got affiliated to a company in America, McCann Erickson. So that was how it all went on. Now, I didn't do banking, and I didn't work as a banker. The interesting story is that one day, while still at Roosevelt, no, STB McCann then, I got a phone call from somebody I've never met before. And I picked up the call. He said, my name is ABC, blah, blah, blah. And he said, the managing director of Zenith Bank wants to talk to me. So I said, no, there's no problem. I know I'm not owing any bank and all that. He said, no, he just wants to talk to you. So I picked up, he picked up the line and said, my name is this. I said, my name is this. He said, can we meet? So I said, no problem. He said, no. So we agreed to meet. And it got to be that he wanted to appoint a couple of directors for the bank before they went public. And what I said to him was, I'm not a banker. I didn't study finance or economics. He said, no. What I want from you is your name and your integrity. Nothing beyond that. That was the beginning of the story. So I got onto the board, and I learned a lot. You know, I'm somebody who doesn't get to a place and I want to show them what I know or what I don't know. You could make a fool of yourself sometimes. So for me, like the first 6 months or 1 year, was just go to the meeting, listen to them, know where they are coming from, know what the focus is, and know what the expectations are. So I picked it up from there. Gradually, I got into the system. Of course, naturally, buy some books on banking, finance, just read, so at least you know how the banks operate. I've always been a customer of the banks in a very small scale. And all I did was follow the banking trend. There weren't too many banks in Nigeria at that point in time, but I followed through. And that was it. I got onto the board. And somewhere along the line, there was a policy of the central bank. The managing director had to step aside, so to say. The chairman had overspent some time regulated by the CBN. And they approached me and said, you are going to become, at the board, you're going to become the chairman of the board. I said, me? And they said, yes. I've met a lot of people here, so why me? Anyway, to cut the short story long, I was eventually made the chairman of Zenith Bank. And I was there, I was chairman for 4 years. And then CBN rules changed again. The MD came back, and I was very happy to hand over the bank to him. And I said I was going to leave when he came back. He said no. Statutorily, as he had 2 more years on the board, that no, you got to stay and live out your time. And then, so I did. And after 12 years, I eventually bowed out from the bank and returned full time to my own job, which I've been known for, and that is the media world. Okay, so I get invited for interviews, for programs here and there. Like you said, it's always a good thing. You have something you have learned over the years, you want to impact it on the younger ones, who are coming. I mean, my first son, for instance, went through the media scene, now in advertising, and I go on encouraging them. I retired from active day-to-day operations about almost 15 years ago. But I'm still keeping pace with what is going on around me. Yeah, I mean, the society itself is very dynamic. There's been a lot of changes over time. I mean, I look back to during my own time in the newspaper world, and I can count just about 4 or 5 newspapers then. Okay, Morning Post, Daily Times, The Express, and a couple of others. So we knew each other. We knew the practice, we exchanged news information, we exchanged, if you had a news that was breaking, you want to call up colleagues from other papers, we all go there as a team, right? Because stories will be written from different angles, no matter what you do, So newspaper was great. And it was so good. In the morning, your byline was there, and people were trying to reach you, about the quality. Quality was good. Quality was good. And there wasn't too much of freelancing in those days, the newspaper world. So you were either fully employed or you didn't belong. Same thing for radio. For instance, television I didn't do much about. While in journalism and in newspaper world, I was writing for radio, okay? Interesting stories. I had, there was a name to this program, the Oddities, Odd World. So we were picking up things that were odd. People that didn't imagine what they were. It's not something that was very common. So we went on doing that. So newspapers were growing, radio was growing, television was growing, and out-of-home media was also growing. And talk about the dynamism of the system. Suddenly, people were now going out of buying a newspaper every day to sit down and hold it in front of you, trying to read from beginning, from cover to cover. Other forms of communication came on. With the advent of mobile phones, things began to change. In our own time, it was the phone you put on the desk and you were dialing it, a lot of the time you could never get across, okay? Suddenly, mobile phone came onto the scene. And news coverage was transformed completely from what it used to be, okay? So now, people on their phone could reach out, you could touch Germany, touch America, touch all parts of Europe, just sitting down in your office to gather information, gather news, what is new, And then, of course, we now had more television stations, no longer NTA alone, okay? Now, with the news stations, things were just expanding. Things were broadening up, and news gathering became something new altogether, and everybody was heading for a new phenomenon altogether. So today, you don't have to be a big guy to be able to tell your stories. Little children tell their stories, females tell their stories, So really we have moved from the days of waiting to read your newspaper to gather your news. Now, with your phone on your palm, you could do wonders all over. But of course, standard also, in some areas, standard will improve. In some areas, standards will go down. Because the multiplicity of media sources create problems. The kind of quality control we used to have in those days was disappearing. And people can build up stories without even being there to know if it is factual or not. So of course, the turmoil that we are going through in the media space now is better imagined. But I still believe that for those who have structures like the one you are building up now, will enable people to know that you've got to check, you've got to cross-check, okay? We have laws that control what we say, what you do, what you publish. Of course, they are not as rigid as they should be, So, in terms of content these days, you have to ensure that you check your facts before you can believe, what they are saying or make any sense out of them. So really it has become all commerce affair. And this is not going to be the end. The explosion is going to continue. Maybe in a few years to come, we're going to have a stronger media control than what we have now. People are building content. You go on YouTube, you go on all kinds of media, and you are getting all kinds. What you hear from your WhatsApp is different from what you're going to get in your YouTube. You go to Instagram. People are selling themselves with all kinds of stories. So really, for me, we've gone through the era of sanity in media, and I hate to say, we've gone into the era where anything you can think of, say it, write it, do it. And for the consumers, it's like you either take it or you leave it. But it's good that we can now reach out much, much widely. I mean, thanks to our mobile news. I mean, you talk to people in any village in Nigeria, and suddenly one thing that didn't grab us so early was you open up your Google map, and you don't have to stop people on the street anymore. Show me where I'm going. Just go to the app, and it leads you to the front of the house you are going to. So we have a lot of improvements, and I think it's going to be improving some more. All we just need to watch is to ensure that we remain truthful and we remain factual, so that we don't mislead people on the street, particularly people in the rural areas. One day you just see everybody running helter-skelter because somebody posted a news that is not correct. So we need to watch that and put some more control. But I like the growth in the media space. When I got into the banking sector, I saw myself more as a customer than a board member. I haven't been a journalist, which I still am. I wrote so much about what consumers or customers were going through in the banks. It was a period of tally number, Remember this commercial, where somebody carried a mat. I said, what are you carrying a mat in the bank? I want to lay down here because I know before I get my money, I will have slept once or twice and woken up, So I was very consumer oriented. When I got into the banking system, a couple of times my board members will ask me, are you on the board or you are still a customer? I said, first and foremost, I want to remain a customer of the bank. Who will come into the bank and get properly served? Who will come into the bank and feel like human? Who will come into the bank feeling important? Because it's your money in the bank. Even if it's only 1,000 naira, it's your money. You need to be treated with some dignity and respect. And that was my mentality that I took into the board of the bank. I said, listen, I am not too happy the way customers are treated. It is their money, no matter how small. Treat them with respect, treat them with dignity. So they started listening to me after some time. And I said, look, customer service is extremely important. In those good old days, you will hardly hear about customer service in any of the major banks. It wasn't there. But gradually, people started being important. It was more of retail. I mean, yeah, you can deal with the big corporate organizations, but at the same time, it is these poor students, poor market women, people who are out there on the street laboring hard to bring their money. So that was one area I was extremely happy that we developed that area of retail banking and being able to make the consumer the king. Okay? So that was part of it. Then, of course, I said to the bank, I said to them, fine, it is very good to make huge profits, okay? But at the same time, the customers that come in here and from their money we make our profits, let us also consider the kind of interest they get for their deposits. Today, when the banks take your money to deposit, okay? No. When you go to the bank and say, I need assistance, I need a loan, and you tell them, give them all the facts and figures, okay? They will tell you, you are going to pay interest of 20%, 23%, blah, 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 blah. When they take your money to put in the bank, they give you an interest of 2%, 3%, 4%. And I just couldn't live with it. I mean, if you are giving me a loan, you're charging me so much. When I put my money there, it's also a loan to you. Why will you leave me with 2 or 3%? And I thought the system wasn't quite right. It was too skewed towards the bank than the customer. So I met a lot of pushbacks, in that area. And I must still say, it's an area I think government should still be interested in. In the civilized world, interest rate hovers between 3%, 5%. In Nigeria, it goes as far as. Maybe in Africa, not just Nigeria. I know we are developing, but at the same time, let's develop together. For both those that we are taking in their money and for those we are giving money to. So there'll be some level of balance. So I really worked hard in that area. I may not have fully succeeded. Then I think finally, one other thing that I think I was able to do at the bank is our staff also requires some upliftment. And suddenly, banks started, employing senior people. They started moving people up. They look more at the system now than just ownership. So generally, of course, more banks have come into the scene. A lot of new banks, so people can spread out, and salaries started going up for bankers and all that. But of course, requirements were also extremely high. So generally, I think today we have a much stronger banking system, and we are still going. Now, the bank for a long time have been let loose to do whatever they want to do at the disadvantage of customers, like I started off with. Now, our leaders, and when I say leaders, let me point on just our presidents. The system was such that our presidents could do anything they like with the banks. It was almost an extension of the State House. You just pick up your bell and you ring, and the governor of Central Bank will come shaking because you have the power to bring him in and fire him. So he had to respect everything that the president wants. And it's wrong. This time around, I can say, even in some parts of Africa, you couldn't run the central bank the way we run it here. All the CBN governors wanted to do, please the president, and you are free to do whatever you want to do, and it's
is wrong. I mean, take even Britain here. Have you ever heard this kind of relationship between the Prime Minister of England and the CBN? No. Everybody has his mandate. In places, in climes like that, the president doesn't call up the central bank governor. Go and do this. Go and do that. Exchange rate should be done. Change your policy to be done. I mean, that's part of the problem we've had in this country. So the last government and their CBN just ran this country to their whims and caprices. You leave your monetary policy. In fact, you were running both monetary and fiscal at the same time. You took the Minister for Finance, for instance, and you have no dealings with him or her. You ran their own programs for them, and you did things that they should do, but they couldn't query you because the president, had your back. So a lot of things went wrong. And the result is now here for all of us to see. So what, I mean, look at the changing of our redesign, what they call redesigning of the currency. Now we know there are so many ways you should have done it, but we put politics and added it into our financial and monetary policies. We wanted to do it specifically to change the course of history. And it is wrong. So today, we now know what's happening at the central bank. In fact, if the true story of what went on in the last 8 years was told, I don't know what will be left of this country. I mean, you had this little thing in the Constitution that said the government can borrow from the CBN within certain limits. They call it ways and means. But no. And there was a percentage tied to it. You can't do more than 5%. And by the time you're asking for the new one, you should have paid up. We went on piling up. It's like just go and print the money. What Idi Amin used to do in Uganda in those days. That's the kind of situation we found ourselves. Very regrettable. But I believe some sanity will now come into this space. The new central bank has at least outlined its policies. It has also said, let me keep to my monetary policy, which is my area, and leave the paperwork and how they want to run it with people who deal with the fiscal area. So we want to change. We think things should change. Now, before now, we borrowed and borrowed without thinking about how are we going to pay? Who are we leaving this debt for? Now we know it's for you and me to still do our work, put in as much money as we can, no matter how little, into the bank, and revive the banking industry. Okay, so the CBN has its own role, and my prayer and my wish is that they will keep their own part of the bargain, leave other people. The Minister for Finance has said it that much. We should. I mean, we all know, simple economics. You don't borrow money to pay your debt. You borrow money for production. You borrow money to fix things like your oil all maintenance and all that. Where our money should be coming from. That's what you borrow money for. You don't borrow money for wastages. You don't borrow money to satisfy your whims and caprices. You don't borrow money to just go out there and waste it. Now, you borrow money to pay back your debt. At the end of the day, we are back lower than where we started off from. So really, my appeal to both the president and his cabinet, particularly those that do with finance, give them some room. You put them there because you think they know what they're supposed to do. Give them the space. If it goes breathing down their neck, at some point, it will just be, President said so, President said, even things that the President did not say, President said so, and it's got to be done. And we are running a country, even when you run your home, you are able to sit down with your little income and plan. Every day we are being told, if you earn this much, use this little bit, keep the rest in the bank, because you never know about tomorrow. So that's where we found ourselves, and I believe that if everything goes right, we should see massive changes from what it was, the last 8 years. We need drastic changes in the system. My mom in Abalinde used to say to me, when I want to be lazy, he will make sure you do what she wants you to do. And he will remind you that hard work doesn't kill. It is laziness that turns you into an inconsequential human being with no sense of direction. We grew up learning hard work, both in school and out of school. I, for instance, hawked on the streets of Lagos with my mom. You leave St. Gregory's College, now not primary school, St. Gregory's College. You come back. My mother was a textile seller. Got it, probably went to Balogun, pick up. When I come back from school after my lunch, get a basket full of cloth, which I put on my head, and we go from street to street. My mother's carrying her tape rule and another measurement stick, and we'll go around Obalinde, Igoshere, Bamboshe, Oshoji, and we were selling. From there, she graduated to owning a shop in Balogun. When I leave school, I was her accountant, so to say, bookkeeper. All the things they sold, I make, keep the records and everything. I helped her take the money to the bank. It was Barclays Bank, what was it called then? Yeah, Barclays Bank, before it became Union Bank in Balogun. So I've learned how to trade. I've learned how to make money. I've learned how to deal with customers. Plus that, I was also a bread seller. Somewhere along Strachan Street, off Igoshere, there was a big bakery owned by the Lawson family. To be able to get enough bread, you got to get there between 5 and 6 in the morning. Okay? So let me cut it short. We learned to work hard. And that working hard continued with us up till where we are today. We also were very straight-minded in terms of what we wanted to be. We played pranks, so we went out to play football, we went out to, to play with the girls, and everything. But at the end of the day, you returned home. And our parents didn't spare the rod. They didn't. You came back later than expected to. They would lie you on the floor and dealt with you. So the combination of the kind of upbringing and the kind of training we went through home probably kept us where we are. And like I said to you before we started the interview, you knew that if you finish your primary school, secondary school is the next thing. If you finish secondary school, you don't know what you were going to reading for. Not until probably when you got to the university did it occur to you, okay, I'm going to choose a profession. But all along, we just did it because that was what the system and the environment asked for. So, secret of success, hard work, hard work, hard work. No. I had a father who was very finicky about appearance. When I lived on Igboshere Road, our church was on Louis Street, so to say, walking distance. He taught me how to wear full agbada right from primary school, secondary school. I mean, today, you just wear Buba and Shokoto, you go to church. Never was that happening. It's got to be full. Right? Then from there, by the time you got into, I mean, my father died while I was in university. Before then, he was always having this very thin bow tie, not this bigger one, bigger sizes now. Thin, you know? Even when his dress is khaki and khaki, he still had it on. So I admired him, but initially I was on my long time, up till a point, and I look back at some photographs we took when we were in the secondary school, and I thought, no, let me go back to those old days. Some people tell me it makes you look old. I said, I don't mind, you know, but these days I have just acquired that fashion taste, you know, which has suddenly become my, what do you call it? Become what I'm